Turn on our microphones here and say hello to everybody. And just a moment, close the door to my office. There we go. Today we're going to be looking at SokoGhost, which is a puzzle game in the Sokoban genre. And I'm already joined by one of the two developers. I don't know if I'm allowed to say your name. Would you introduce yourself?
that's
Do you
okay.
have an online
Yeah.
persona or?
No, I can introduce myself. I'm Marcus. I'm the designer, level designer, game designer of SokoGhost, and I've also made a little bit of the UI, mainly the UI you'll see in game. And I made the game together with my partner, developer, companion, I guess, Alec, who is the main programmer on the project. And we're part of the group Dream Jam Games that are kind of a hobby working towards trying to be professional at some point in the future game development studios. And this will be our first commercial in the sense that it's a paid game. We have made one mobile game in the past that is free to play, and a bunch of another free to play game on Steam. But this will be the first game where we'll be actually charging people to try it out.
All right, cool. Although you do have a free demo of this game on Steam right now.
Yeah.
Which is also the one we're going to be playing now. Because this
so
game
if you want to try it out,
released
it's
yet,
available.
right?
No, it will be released by March 26th, so in 2 weeks' time. We're currently in the final scrambles of getting everything together and up and running. So very, very soon it will be released.
Oh, okay. That is very soon.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna click play, and then there's gonna be like a short introduction. I just reset the game. Because I played this before. I met you guys at a event, like a game playtest event. So I think I played through the whole demo, and it is a puzzle game. So I'm curious how much of it is gonna be super easy now, since I've already done it. But okay, do you want to say anything before we start, or should I just introduce?
So I can talk a little bit about kind of the context is that you are a worker in this box pushing factory, but something has happened that has turned you into a ghost. But you still have a quota, you still have a job to do, and as we all know, ghosts kind of have to linger in the physical world until they have finished their business before they can pass on to the other side. So that is kind of the underlying goal for you, is that you have to finish your unfinished business to be redeemed, essentially.
Okay. Then it also makes sense, like the subtitle of the game. So the game is called SokoGhost, but it has the subtitle Unfinished Business. So I'm gonna hold the factory until I'm done.
Yes, exactly. We're kind of breaking all of the rules regarding title length on Steam. It's a little bit of a longer title, but I wanted it to both be very clear for the players that it's a Sokoban game, and we also really like the Unfinished Business title, so we ended up just putting them together.
All right. We should probably just introduce what the Sokoban genre is, because probably everybody doesn't know, but it's a puzzle. Well, Sokoban was a puzzle game from, is it back in the 90s, or was it even earlier?
It's even earlier. It's one of the oldest games. I think it's 70s or 80s Japanese game. It literally means, Sokoban, the word in Japanese, literally means warehouse worker, I think. Warehouse pusher, maybe. And it's essentially a box pushing puzzle game where all of the puzzles are kind of derived from the main mechanic of that you can push around boxes. And the simple version is that you only have the boxes and delivery points, and you have to put all of the boxes onto the delivery points. And since that game, thousands and thousands of different mutations and variations of that puzzle genre has been made afterwards. And I think a lot of people will have experienced kind of the core box pushing mechanic in other games. I think it's pretty common in Pokemon and Zelda and this kind of stuff to utilize it as a kind of a sub part of the game, typically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also played some kind of kids games when I was little, where it's definitely it's the same kind of game, with pushing things so that they go in the right place. All right, but let's introduce SokoGhost then, because I've just been running around here, but something that's different in this game to all the others is I can actually go into the walls, and I can go through the walls. And that's what the game about. So I can go through the wall, and I can push the box over here. And I would, of course, need to push it into this square. I can also undo my moves if I make a mistake. So then I can push it in here. And then there's an exit point. Now I need to go over there. I can't do that currently because I've been fooling around too much, going into too many of the walls and spending all my ghostly moves doing that.
Yeah.
So if I undo all the way back here, I have my ghost bar back up, and I can now push the box into the right square and go back through the wall and then exit the level. We didn't pick up the phone. There was a phone that just kind of introduces everything that you just said. So I just skipped that one.
Yeah. It's kind of an extra layer of storyline or narrative. We have toned it down a bit. We learned from playtest sessions, and it was also kind of our assumption that people would prefer to just play the puzzles, and then if they wanted the extra layer of story on top, they can kind of opt in by answering the phone. In an earlier version, I can't remember if that was the one that you tried. You don't have the option to answer the phone. It just, starts talking to you, essentially, and blabbering on. And it's a little bit of a blocking friction point for you to starting the puzzle. Now, I'm down talking the narrative a lot. I mean, I think there are some funny puns and some funny jokes in it, but it's kind of an extra element you can play with if you want, but it's not a, what would you say, core carrying part of the puzzle game.
Yeah, I think actually that's really nice. I did play the version where the introduction was forced upon you, and I don't know. I think it's very nice that you can pick up the phone if you want to. I wonder if you're gonna run into trouble with people then not understanding what's going on, but I think you're also introducing every little mechanic, little by little, anyways. So
yeah, and I think that has probably been the biggest time sink of the game, and is still that is as one of the things that we'll be spending time on here at the end, is working with the pacing of the levels and overall segments to make sure that we are introducing the challenges and the puzzles in a way that makes sense, in a way that you get introduced to a new concept, and then some of the next levels will utilize that concept. And it's kind of an ongoing thing to keep pruning and refining the order of levels to make sure it's a satisfying experience.
So I might actually have already skipped one of those explanations, because we can enter these boxes, and then we can, well, the box becomes a haunted box, and when the box is haunted, then you can kind of also push that box into the walls.
Yeah, and this is actually something we have changed up a bit in the official version, but it's not reflected in the demo here. But in the official version, you won't actually be able to use this power until you have reached the level where it becomes available. I think it's level 7 or something, where you will be kind of probably introduced to it in the same way as you was in the first level, with the explanation text in the top and that kind of stuff. So this is a little bit of a legacy element here. we learned from playtests that it got a bit confusing for players that you suddenly jumped into boxes without it being properly introduced. So we have in the official, or not in the full version, it is a locked feature until you have reached that level.
I remember this level from the playtest. This was kind of the first the first difficult one. I'm probably gonna have trouble with it again now.
Yeah, this one is quite funny because so I've made all of the levels in the game, all 100 levels, and there's definitely a difference in how I feel about each level. You know, some levels I really like the way it's laid out and how the mechanics work, and other levels are a little bit I'm not as satisfied with how they are set up, and I think this is one of the levels that I'm not super satisfied with. I think it's a little bit messy. There's a lot of moving parts that doesn't necessarily relate to the actual puzzle solving. But the funny thing is that when we have playtested this level, a lot of people think it's quite funny or quite there's this moment in the end of the level where so you have to, you know, spend a move to get into the elevator in the end. And a lot of people don't realize this until, you know, they push the final box into the spot and they're like, oh, I actually have to use my move now, and I have already used it, you know, in the previous, you know, precisely it's the situation you are in now here. And a lot of people actually commented that this is a quite fun element of the level, that they have to go back and try again. So that's kind of, you know, one of the funny things with doing this, that you have the levels that I as designer think, oh, this doesn't work well, or there are some issues with this, and then you present it to the players and they actually think it's okay, or they like it. That can be quite interesting to see. So
I want to just also introduce here, we have the different star values. So I now completed this with 1 star, right? And you can get 3 stars. And it also shows my best moves. I used 77 moves to complete it. So I completed and I unlocked another level, but I could have completed it better in the sense that I could have used fewer ghost moves. So when I did it, I was just kind of assuming, okay, let's do the first one, let's do the second one. Then I have to spend a ghost move here in order to get out and be able to push the third one. And again here, I used my second ghost move, and then I only have 1 ghost move left, which leaves me with 1 star. So if I wanted to complete it with more stars, oh well, now I'm backtracking like this. Of course, I could also just reset the whole level. Then you have to be thinking a lot more about your ghost moves. And as you said, this level, once you've played this last box, you will need a ghost move to get in here. So I actually have to place all the boxes without using any ghost moves. And I think that's also what made this level quite different and quite fun.
Yeah, and you said you actually remember it. It's funny what stuff that sticks. It's usually, you know, from a puzzle perspective, is usually if you've been stuck for a very long time, but then you realize what the solution is. That kind of solidification in your mind is one of the things that really make you remember, you know, okay, this was the solution to this. It's similar if you are faced with a very, very difficult programming challenge, a problem, and you know, butt your head against the wall, you know, for the whole day until you come up with the solution, and it's like, okay, I'm never going to forget this again because it has caused me so much trouble. It's kind of the same thing, you know, with this, that it just sticks in your mind.
Yeah, and there's something very satisfying about being able to complete it in a better way, right? So I think it's a very nice way that you're not stuck necessarily at one level that you just cannot figure out how to do in 3 stars. Like, you can also just complete it at 1 star and then move on to the next level. But there's something very satisfying about having the option to really do it well.
Yeah, I think it's also one of the elements that we are really happy with. There's a lot of different ways that these SokoGhost games usually do these things. Some games allow you to unlock every level, so you can just go through it in your own pace and do it how you want. And other games have a hint system where if you're stuck, you can get hints that tells you what are the solution to this. And we have talked about if we should have a hint system as part of it. But I feel like that the kind of dynamic difficulty system that we have is a good way to allow the player to play it in the way that they see fit. As you say, if you're stuck in a level, you can do it in a less optimal way and then just move on with that. And return to it later. And it's funny because there are kind of two different types of players we've learned when doing these playtests. There are the players that are like, I spend a little bit of time on the level, and if I can't find the optimal solution, then I just complete it and then I move on. And then there are the other type of players who are like, there are 3 stars and everything else is not an option. I have to get it in 3 stars, and I can't do it in any other way than that. That's kind of the duality of the players we've seen.
I think I ended up in the latter group of really trying to get 3 stars in every level, and then I skipped 1 or 2 and just thought, okay, let's move on. But
yeah, but I mean, you also need to have something, for when the full game come out, right? And there are some levels that get really tough. I have I guess our process has been that I have designed the preliminary concept of the levels, and then I have shared it with Alec, who has then gone through, tested the level, and to see if it's possible to beat, and for me to get a feeling of, okay, how difficult is this to actually solve. So he has been through the meat grinder of every level that I've made.
So what happened now is that I completed all the, shall we say, level 1 or introductory levels, at least the ones available in the demo. And so that unlocked level 11, level 21, and level 31, and level 41. So why do you do this in the demo, where you unlock parts of the chapters?
So this is before we started this game, I did a lot of research on how do you make puzzles. This is the first puzzle game that we have ever made, and I really love puzzle games myself personally. So this was in a way a little bit of a more personal project than some of the stuff that we have done previously. But I have never made a puzzle game before, and I wanted to figure out how is a good way to do it. And I found a really, really, really great YouTube video with a guy. I can't remember what he's called, but he's a Sudoku puzzle master. So he's really, really, world champion, participating world championships of Sudoku and puzzle games in general. Physical puzzle games and also video puzzle games and that kind of stuff. And he has, I think it's a 3-part essay on YouTube. I think it used to be a GDC talk or something, where he talks about I think it's 30 tips for puzzle designers or something like that. How do you make good puzzle games? And essentially he has 4 tips that you have to consider if you want to make a good puzzle game. So one of the tips is that it should be non-linear. You should be able to choose your own order, or you shouldn't be dependent on a linear structure of the puzzles when you do it, because if you get stuck in some place, you should always have the option to go to another puzzle or do something else. So this is kind of the way that we want to try and achieve that, is that it's a little bit pseudo-linear, because you have to still complete the first 10 levels before it kind of branches out. But in the full game, it also works like this. This is not only a demo thing. In the full game, you will also unlock these different segments. And there's actually, I think, 2 segments more that are not part of the demo that you will also unlock after completing level 10. So it allows you to choose your own order which level do I want to play, or which segment, as we call it, do you want to try out? And if you get stuck in a segment and you really want to get it in 3 stars, but you can't find a solution, you can jump to another segment and play through that. That was one thing I was thinking. I'm also just rambling on, but it's a really that's kind of a way to try and create that semi-dynamic progression in it. Later you unlock a bit fewer segments and so on. There was one point I wanted to add. It'll probably come in a moment.
So I think I messed this one up. This is a new level. I think this wasn't in the demo I played. So did you change the whole chapters to have? So it also seems like these chapter 11 and 12, they have a thing about standing on a spot, and then let's say chapter 2 and chapter 3, they will have their own different kind of feature. So a chapter is kind of based on a feature. Is that right?
Yeah, for this middle part of the game, in the full game you unlock 5 chapters or segments, and each segment is themed around a new mechanic. So this is how we kind of build a little bit of, I guess, content into the game beyond the puzzles, that we add some of these typical elements. So level 11 to 20 is pressure plates and gates, and I think in the demo here you will see some other stuff. I think we are introducing, I guess it's 5 different mechanics that all interact with the system in different ways. So the pressure plates and gates is quite classic in a way that, you know, it's very similar to a lot of puzzle games to have this type of mechanic here.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the later ones will be a little bit more unique to this game.
Yeah. Maybe I should have tried one of the other ones so we could kind of see what was there.
Yeah, but I think you will get to it not that long. The demo usually takes around 30 minutes to play, and we have 100 levels for the full game. I think our expectation is around. It depends a lot on what your play style is. If you wanna spend a lot of haunt moves, or if you wanna try and get the optimal solution. But I think it will take around maybe 4 hours, 5 hours to play through, depending on if you wanna get everything or if you wanna just get through it. So I think you will be able to reach the other parts of the demo quite quickly as part of this.
I think I messed this one up. Like, if I want to get 3 stars, I've spent my ghost move, and I think I will need to spend it to go out here. So maybe we'll return to do. Oh no! Now I'm messing it even more up. All right, reset. I also like it's so easy to reset in this game. It's so nice. The undo button and the redo button and the reset. It makes it just, you know, very fluent. If is that a word, fluent? But
yeah, definitely. And it is one of the core features of that. It's very typical for Sokoban type of games to have undo, redo, and reset features. There's of course the benefit from a player perspective, you know, the usability and the user friendliness of being able to do it, but there's also just the genre expectation of the players that when you play this type of game, you expect there to be these features. So it was kind of, from the beginning, it was kind of a core requirement to have to be. It allows you to very quickly be able to experiment, right, and try out different things. And if you do something wrong, you can very quickly revert back to a state where you are certain that, you know, it's in a more stable place, right? Or you can revert back to the proper path.
So this level is doing that thing for me where I wanna get the 3 stars because I don't know what it is, but it triggers me. I think it's because it seems very attainable. It's just you have to spend that one ghost move. It's very clear, like you can spend one ghost move, but it's interesting that you can spend it in different places. I can see reasons to spend it up at the brown box, and I can see reasons to spend it to get into this room over here, so I can push the yellow box. And I'm pretty sure now that I need to spend it over here, because no matter what, when I put down this yellow box at this point, I would need to somehow be able to go and push it from the other side like this. But this time I had the door open. I didn't have that last time. I guess this is good and no. I still need to get the brown box out, right? But how do I do that without spending a ghost move? No, so actually this is the point where I get really frustrated, because it seems so simple, right? There's not a lot to do, but it's still a puzzle.
Yeah, this is also a really interesting level, because it was a level I made quite quickly. We just needed to fill out some content. I think it was one of the first levels I made when we introduced the pressure plates and gates mechanic. And I was like, okay, it's just a basic level. It will probably be quite easy. But when we put it in front of players, it has been really, really divisive. Some players breezed through it, I mean, almost not stopping up, thinking, just solving it instantly. But
I think that's really annoying for you to say right now. To me.
Yeah, but I would also say I think at least the second half of players get really stuck on this, and I played it. We have a similar event in Aarhus where I'm based, like the test event where we met, where I play tested this with a guy who really loves puzzle games and plays a lot of puzzle games, and I think he was probably stuck on this level for 10-15 minutes or something like this. So it's really divisive, and it was not something. I mean, there are some tricks to it. So when I design these levels, there are a lot of different interactions I have in mind, and I try to pace the level difficulty around that, and there are definitely a couple of tricks to this one. But it was not a level I expected would be as difficult as it ended up being. And I think that's kind of a recurring theme with a lot of the levels that I've made. I think the typical process would be that I made a level, I put it in front of Alec, and he would say, this is too difficult, we need to tone it down a bit. And then we remove a lot of elements and stuff.
I guess when you're making a puzzle, you also know the solution from the get-go, right?
Oh, yeah.
So is it actually difficult to make puzzles? I thought it was very difficult to make puzzle games, but in a sense, since you already know the solution from the beginning, maybe it turns out to be much more difficult for the players than, so you don't need to think that much about it, or what?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's also why I'm so dependent on seeing people play the levels, and I really love seeing people play it. It's super awesome, but I think that there's a couple of different approaches to it. The very systematic approach, which I wasn't very good at doing, but I did it at times, is to have kind of a spreadsheet of the different interactions that you can do. So not mechanics generally speaking, but interactions in the way that how can you interact with the mechanics. So the basic would be in this case that you can go into a box and you can go through boxes, and you can push boxes through walls, and you can push boxes away from walls, and then try to think, how can I utilize these interactions in new ways in the level, and then build out from there. And then the process usually becomes kind of it is a little bit like playing a puzzle game. That you start off with one part of the level, and you start testing out how is it to interact with this? Can I create a puzzle around this? How can I solve this part of the puzzle? And when I reach a stage where I'm satisfied with, okay, there's an interaction here that's quite funny that we haven't used before, then I start thinking, is it too small or narrow for a full level? Do we need to add another component for it to kind of branch out? And I start thinking about how would this level fit in the grand kind of scope, you know, in the full chapter segment. So that there's kind of other considerations, and we have a lot of options to pacing the level and adjusting the difficulty. We can add more haunt moves, you know, for 2 and 1 star scores, so you have more flexibility to get through the level. We can remove components, so there's not a lot of components in this level, you know. There are not other boxes in the way that you have to push away or anything like that. But some of the levels later on becomes very, I guess, bloated in a sense that there's a lot of moving parts, and that's a way that we can kind of adjust the difficulty. And then we can also just cut off puzzle elements, you know. So in this example, maybe we could remove one of the delivery boxes. I actually don't think that would work. Yeah, maybe it could. Yeah, you could maybe remove one delivery box, and then you could just push the brown box out of the wall or something like that, right? But then I don't know. Then maybe it becomes too difficult. So there's a lot of balancing and adjustments of you know, seeing how people play and interact with the level, react to the different things, and how they want to approach it.
Yeah, I'm getting frustrated with this. I see, like, so the yellow boxes, they must go to these 2 places, right? And then you have to get in, and you can do that by spending a ghost move, but that means you can't have used one at any other point. Or you can do it by having the brown box on here so that it's open to you, right? But if you have to spend if you need the brown box out here, how would you get that out? You can only get it out by spending a ghost move on that. So either you spend a ghost move to get it out, or you spend a ghost move to get in. But I also don't see a way to get this one out without using a ghost move, because as soon as you push it down here, I think you would need... Well, can we push it through this wall maybe? Oh, new idea. So I haven't played a puzzle game on a stream before. Oh, am I already forgetting my my plan? I haven't played a puzzle game on a stream before, and that's actually it's interesting. Some of the narrative games, like for example Mind Diver, that stream. Oh wait, if I push it down here, I already spent 2 ghost moves. Oh, that's bad. So it's always a way of I have to keep listening to what you say, and I also have to play the game. And if I forget about one or the other, I end up at a stuck point. You know what? I'll skip this one. I'll leave it for the viewers. They can get 3 stars on that one.
I think that's also why I'm kind of rambling on, because I know it's really difficult to talk and think about the puzzle at the same time. So I'm trying to fill out space a little bit. But
but that's great.
Yeah.
It's great if you could...
I can take the hosting.
Yes.
Then you can play through. This one is quite difficult, but this is also one of the levels that I'm really, really satisfied with, because it's kind of takes a lot of boxes. No pun intended, but there's not a lot of moving parts, and you really have to think about how you manage the boxes, and everything is there for a purpose in a way, and those are the type of levels that I really, really like. And there's not put anything in to artificially enhance the difficulty. An easy way, if we wanted to make this more difficult, would be, okay, let's just add a couple of boxes that you have to push out of the way. But that's also a little bit, I think it's also a little bit cheating. We are doing that in a couple of levels, because we need 100 levels and it's difficult to fill everything out. But I really strive towards creating levels of this kind of type that are where everything is there for a reason, and you really have to think about, okay, how do I do this? How do I go about this?
I actually read a post. I was searching a little bit on just like the Sokoban genre, and I saw a post by another developer for another Sokoban game, and they said something like what you're saying now. Everything is there for a reason, and to them, like a puzzle game needed to have that. You cannot have extra stuff. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because it can also it can create the puzzle for the player to have to kind of figure out what's needed and not. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's also kind of what is your vision with the game, right? Do you want a very, very clean experience where everything is very not straightforward, but and not simple either, but very, very clean in the sense that there's not a lot of additional stuff. I know that, and in working with this game, we looked in a lot of subreddits and forum discussions and tried to investigate what makes a good soccer game for players. And a lot of people definitely comment that also, that they don't like puzzles where there's a lot of unrelated parts that are just there to increase the difficulty artificially, because I guess all of these levels in its core is about very, very specific interactions, and you can always add more stuff, but that doesn't necessarily relate to that level, the nature of that level and the purpose of that level, right? So there's a purpose usually, or kind of I talk a lot about Alec, about there being a journey in the level, kind of a narrative exploration, in a way that when you go through the level, you start out trying to explore different solutions, and then you go down a path and you figure out, okay, maybe I'm actually onto something here, right? And then when you actually then find the solution, it's kind of a very great experience, and an aha moment is what they call it. And you can design levels where the aha moment becomes kind of extra satisfying. So, for example, in these levels with the pressure plates, we introduce this power element with the gates and the pressure plates and this kind of stuff. And you can design a puzzle around where the aha moment is combined with a moment where you power up a lot of stuff in the level. So not only do you yourself get this kind of great experience, you also kind of power up a lot of stuff in the level. So it amplifies each other in essence. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can kind of think about how the level reacts to you finding the solution, realizing what you have to do. And that's a quite fun way to design around it. It's a little bit like the level we talked about earlier, where you had to use the haunt move in the end to get into the elevator. That tries to utilize that a little bit, where the end of the solution chain, the end of the journey in your mind, you realize, oh, I actually have to use it here. And then when you go through it again, that creates kind of a fun moment in the end. So that's one of the other ways that you can think about designing these puzzles, is kind of what will be the journey for the player going through this level. What is kind of the beats of the journey that they will experience in the different moments in it.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll take the telephone now. We haven't seen the telephone, and this is another feature I didn't see, I think, at the test I did with you like a month ago. It's something with chains. So at this point, I don't know actually what they do. So I'll take the phone. So we get a phone call from management. Why does a box pushing and production company even have all these chains? So it's a box pushing and production company. so the company is actually just working on pushing boxes.
Yeah.
Well, let me illuminate it for you, my dear rookie. Reciting from page 571 of the Box Corp Ghost Handbook. Oh, okay, they have a lot of ghosts. It's not just me who's a ghost. Chain-bound walls and boxes help securing our special assets. This prevents unauthorized phasing during production and transport. Chains bind ghosts, holding movement and ensuring safe handling by staff. In short, ghosts can't move through chain-bound objects. I'm sure you'll find a way around this little hiccup. Do well, and I'll sign you up for the next company retreat. Oh, I want to go on the company retreat. Alright, so, yeah, I can enter these walls, right? That's the normal walls. But I can't enter the chains. And let's see if the chains also impact the boxes in some way. Yeah, so normally I can also push a haunted box into the walls, and I can't do that here. So I suppose this is a way for you also to make sure that if I just place the two boxes like this, then I won't be able to haunt my way through the walls and to the exit.
Yeah, this is kind of introducing the classic Sokoban element of not being able to go through walls, but it introduced some new ways to interact with the horn mechanic. So this is actually one of the features that really expanded our possibility space in regards to what types of levels can we design, because it forces some specific interactions with the system that you have to use in order to complete the levels. So this is something that I'm using a lot in some of the later levels. The second half of the game combines a lot of these mechanics, so you will have levels that have pressure plates and chain-bound walls, right, and some of the other stuff interacting with each other. And this chain-bound mechanic really helps with some of the complexities that will come later. One of the challenges with this type of game is trying to, because you can go through walls, that also means that you can solve the puzzles in a lot of different ways. So having to kind of learn what is the possibility space in the level and test out all of the different solutions. Having this constraint of saying, okay, these specific walls you can't go through. That helps a lot in that process, because sometimes there's an alternative way to solve it, and I can't really block it off. So I have to just say, okay, we have to accept it in this situation. But for the second half of the level, I have a lot more control over those situations, because I can put in these chain-bound walls and this kind of stuff. So this is, from a design perspective, this is a really great kind of level design support.
Okay, and what we have here seems to be a box with chains. So this time we won't be able to haunt this box. Normally I can enter this kind of box, but I can't do that now. And also, like if I go here, I won't be able to enter the wall above me. I could go all the way up here, right? But that would, yeah, that would remove my chance of a 3-star. Let's just go back to it, since maybe we can find a way to do a 3-star in this one. You need to put the box. Oh, no need to go into the wall now. So you could also maybe haunt the box. I don't know if we can push it through the walls. So we use one haunt move just like this. And if I continue, I would use another one. But if I go out and I push the box, then I would also need one to push it to the right place. So I can't push it through the walls. That would require too many haunt moves. So instead, can we use this one for anything? I don't think it makes sense to put it over here. Like that's to me the kind of most intuitive thing. Let's try and put it there, and then yeah, then you can use one haunt move to enter the box. Okay, yes, like that.
Yeah,
that was the aha moment. Entering the box and seeing.
That's exactly, and you can really feel it also with watching players and hearing players talk about it and stuff. You can really feel that moment when they get when they get it. In a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, must be a very rewarding kind of game to make and to see people play.
Oh yeah, it's super fun. But you get surprised about all of the different ways that you can solve the puzzles that you haven't thought about. even when you think that you have thought about everything, it takes 1 or 2 players to just do something completely different. And
Do you consider that a problem, that people are able to complete it in a lot of different ways, or a strength, or?
It really depends on the solution, I think. If they complete it in a way that utilizes fewer haunt moves that we have designed for the 3 stars, that is a problem, because we don't want that to be a better solution than what we see as the best solution, or the optimal solution. And if they solve the level in a way that is completely, I guess, detrimental, or doesn't utilize half the stuff we put in, if they find a way to solve it, going through a wall in just the left corner, and then all of the rest of the level doesn't make sense, that is also a problem. But if they solve it in a way where it is kind of adjacent to how we designed it and what we thought, this is the concept of this level, but they do it in a little bit of a different way, and it still costs the same amount of haunt moves to do it and get to the solution. I found myself saying that is okay for the levels, but it also kind of depends on, where are you in the overall progression, because we have some levels that introduces new mechanics and new ways to interact with it. So, for example, one of the first levels where you learn that you can go into boxes and push boxes through walls, right? If we have designed that level in a way where you could solve it without being able to go into boxes and push it through walls, that would be a problem, because we want to make sure that players learn that interaction and can figure out, are aware that this is a skill that they have to use to complete the game. So it depends. I guess the answer is that it depends a lot on what the solution they find is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think if you have one of those solutions where they complete it better than you expected and they still use features, would you end up just changing what's needed for the 3 stars, or do you think that also just makes it too difficult if they're solving it in a way that's very unique?
Yeah, we have done that with a couple of levels. There's a couple of levels where we realize, you can actually do this with fewer haunt moves than we expected. But it's also a pretty fun way to do it. And sometimes, so it's really, now I'm going a little bit on a tangent here, but when we watch people play these levels, you can very often see a pattern to how they go about it. Most players do the same thing when they want to try find a solution and go about it, which is really interesting. That somehow the way that it's set up means that people go in a specific order or direction with it. Also, the way that you're going about this now is very typical for how people will try and solve this level. So when we see that a lot of people try to do the same thing to solve a level, but it's a little bit outside of the solution scope that we had in mind initially, we can also use that to advantage to kind of reward the players, because we don't want this to be sorry, we don't want this to be kind of a headache to get through. We also want there to be great experiences, right, finding the solutions. So if we learn that people have a novel way of solving a level that we hadn't thought of, but essentially is more fun and more rewarding for the players, that is also a good reason to change it, I think. So not only just because it's mechanically the better optimal solution, but also because it kind of provides a more satisfying experience for the players, exploring the different opportunities and then discovering a way to solving it and then realizing that was actually the way to do it. That can also be very satisfying.
I think this one is annoying, this level.
Yeah.
I know I have to get one of the boxes into the left room, right? But in order to do so, I would need to use a haunt move already at the beginning here to get through the purple wall, or I need to push this box over here. If I push this box over here, the only way to get it down, since we cannot pull boxes, we can only push them, right? So the only way to get it down now would be to move it all the way over here. And if I move it all the way over there, I would need to push it from the top, like this. But that leaves me in a position now where I've kind of blocked the left room. So it seems to me we won't be able to do that with this box. We need to use a ghost move to go up. But we also have like 2 ghost moves if we want to get the 3 stars. But then again, I end up in a situation now where... Wait, actually, what can I do with the brown chained box? I will never be able to push it here from the bottom. I would have to push it from the left or from the top. I won't be able... Well, I would have to push it from the right, sorry, because I won't ever be able to push it from the left like this if I want 3 stars. So it's either from the top through the wall. Okay, I think I'm getting to a point now where I think the ghost move is here, entering this purple wall and entering this wall up here to push this one down. But still, there's something wrong, because when I want a yellow box to go down here, if I get it over here, I'm stuck. If I push it one more time, I won't be able to get it back. So maybe it's the other box. Maybe you have to put the boxes in the other positions, right? So this one goes up, while... Oh, then we can spend a ghost move here. Except now this yellow chain box is kind of stuck as well. I think this is a very difficult one for 3 stars. For me, at least.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the tougher ones, but also one of the ones that I'm quite satisfied with, because it's very, again, one of those levels where everything is there for a reason, and nothing is there unintended, and nothing is kind of just bloat or filler. And also, it really highlights what I talked about earlier about the chain-bound levels suddenly introducing new possibility space about how you relate or interact with it. Because you get blocked off in places, but still have to think about where do I use the moves to solve this.
Okay, while I spent a little bit of time thinking about this, maybe you said that you did all the UI design. It's not like there's a lot of UI design in this game, but it's actually really nice, I think, because everything that's there is also there for a reason. There's no filler. The only thing that's really a little bit of filler, maybe for me, is the one down in the right, which goes up every time I move. But I guess that's some kind of a perfectionist thing for puzzle games. Now, I don't play a lot of puzzle games, but I would guess it's kind of to see how good can you do it and how few moves can you do it.
Oh yeah, and we have actually, for the full game, we have turned that off as default, and then you can toggle it on in the settings if you want it to be present. But that was one of the other things that we learned from investigating player sentiment around these type of games, is that it's really, there are 2 types of players, right? There's those who really like that element of finding the very best way of doing it, but there's also the players who get very stressed about having it. Like, similarly, if we would have a ticking clock element, if you had if there was a timer, you were timed on how fast you could complete the level, that is also something that can really stress people out. And it's also, I really hate those type of puzzle games where you have to find a solution fast. That's not for me. So it's actually something that we have in the full game. It will be hidden by default, also because a lot of players were confused about how it related to the star scoring system. It created a lot of initial onboarding friction to have the counter, and we wanted people to very quickly be able to understand how the horn bar in the bottom works with how it correlates with the stars and how you go about the solution.
I think it makes perfect sense to remove it by default and then just have it there. Like it's nice if you want to go for it. It's super handy. It's small and it doesn't interfere a lot. But of course, as you say, for a new player, they're like, why is it there and what does it do? I think when I first tried it, I was also thinking, is there a limit to how many moves I have in total, or like what is it about?
Yeah. And this is usually, for more classical Sokoban type of games, this is usually how you would define kind of the, I guess, difficulty or scoring system of the level. You would have an optimal move count of how fast or how few moves can you solve the level on. And I guess there would be that same underlying element in this game here, but it would be too big of a task for me to go into each level and try and think out what is the shortest path to success. So we have added it as a kind of optional feature if players want to try and maximize the solution as fast as they can.
I think I'm gonna have to give up on the 3 stars on this one.
Yeah, but I mean, you also need something to return to, right, for the full game.
Yeah. Damn it. I think I will do this after the stream. Then I will be back. But I think that's the timer. There's not a timer in the game, but right now I feel like there's a timer for me. Just if people are gonna watch this, they're gonna hate. Well, like if anybody is gonna watch this like as a recorded video, they're gonna hate it just watching me go about the same kind of stuff over and over again. So I already messed this one up just from talking, but so I know what's going on here. We made it to chapter 4, shall we say, like level 41, and there's this moving thing. What's that called? A rolling...
A conveyor belt.
A conveyor belt. So the box was able to move through there, and we have to combine that with the fact that we can haunt boxes. So if I haunt the box and I'm inside the box, then I get to move along with it. And I actually think that's a really nice, neat feature. It explains itself very easily.
Yeah, this is a good example of a level where we can't have the player solving it in another unintended way.
Oh yeah.
So previously you would be able to go through all of the, you would be able to push the box into the conveyor and then go through all of the walls, but I added an extra wall, so you are not even able to go through, solve it in that way. You are, in that way you are very limited, and there is only that one way to solving the level. It's a little bit of a, I guess, risk from a puzzle design perspective, because essentially you can soft lock people or hard lock people here, so they are not able to progress through the game. But it was kind of we were weighing the different, the pros and the cons of allowing the players to go through versus making sure that they learned the interaction and the mechanic. And because this is so fundamental to the way that you are later going to solve these levels and know how the systems behave with each other, it was just more important that we know that people have learned this interaction.
Yeah. And I think it's small enough that you can do it. Like it takes. Well, I don't know if you actually experience that players get stuck. Of course, you have a problem, but I would imagine that it's simple enough that everyone will get through this, and by that way they will learn that feature.
Yeah, that is that's at least what we hope. We haven't seen anything for that level specifically where people were so stuck that they couldn't get through it. But I don't know how many tests we have done now. 30, 40 tests or something. A lot of people. But I mean, you can't guard yourself against everything, right? So we have to see how it goes when it comes out, and what the reception will be from the actual players.
Oh, I messed up. No, go back. I want to get 3 stars on this one because I know I can.
Yeah, we have talked a lot about how it's funny how the mechanics are so different. I mean, the way you have to think about solving the levels change a lot depending on what types of mechanics or features are in the level, right? Because the conveyors add a very kind of dynamic element to it. It's the closest thing to a timed element, a ticking clock element that we will have. But I've tried to design the levels around as much as possible that you're not dependent on having to time specific moves with the conveyor.
Yeah, because I guess it's in essence like it's a turn-based game where you can take whatever time you want, except now there's actually something timed for the first time. And I think I was just completing another kind of tutorial level. Kind of shows me how you push boxes with boxes. And now there's one that I need to solve by pushing boxes with boxes. Oh, wait. No. Stop. There we go. Haunt. Wait, do I need to haunt all of them? No, I think I only need to haunt the yellow one. Because the yellow one will have to move through the wall in the end. Yes, there we go. No, we don't. I needed to haunt the brown one, I think, right? So that one can also move into the wall. Let's haunt it like that. Haunt it. And then we go again.
And I think this is probably, what you're doing here is like 95% of the players, the typical path through this level. So what you did is what everybody does on this. But it's really fascinating.
I think that also means you'll have most of the players are just gonna do whatever they feel like the first time they play it, and then when it doesn't work, then they stop to think about it. Because I mean that's what I did. Right? I had a feeling, let's push this box over here, and and then I see that's not possible, and then I stop to think. So actually, that's a bit interesting. If you oh wait, I can't do that. Go back.
Yeah, I mean, that is one of the approaches that I have to creating these levels. It is that can be one of the other ways. You know, I think about it when I try and think out a new level is what is the red herring solution that I want to set up. You know, that the players think, okay, this is what I have to do, and then when they play through it, they realize, oh wait, that was actually not the right way to do it. Because that is typically where you get that moment of. So what you want is that you want the players to think they found it. Oh yeah, you got through the demo content.
Was that all in the demo? I think. Oh wait. Did we complete the demo? I thought there was another one up here. No.
That one will be unlocked in the full game. When you beat the first 10 levels, you will get access to that chapter as well. And also chapter 3, I think.
If we look at the map features, like this chapter 4, it has the conveyor belt. down here we can see what chapter 3 has. Chapter 2 has the chains. Chapter 1 has the gates. And, well, chapter 0 doesn't have a map feature highlighted, but you have icons for 2 other map features that we haven't seen. And then if you have, what's that gonna be, maybe 4 more chapters, are you gonna add more map features to those, or are you gonna combine map features, or what's gonna be special about those?
That will be combination levels, or some of them. I think a few of them doesn't have a combination aspect where it will be just another chain-bound level or just another conveyor level. But most of them are combination levels in various difficulty. There are some that gets very, very complex and very bloated with a lot of moving parts and a lot of stuff happening. And there are some combination levels that are very small and confined, and everything is there for a reason. I think that is part of the game we haven't tested as much. So I'm quite excited, looking forward to see how players react and what their experience will be to that part of it. It builds on a lot of the fundamentals that are in the first half of the game with the different mechanics and interactions, but expands upon it, and the different systems interact with each other in different ways.
Cool. So I went back now and opened a level that I didn't get 3 stars in before, but I think I figured it out now. If you haunt one of these, then you can move through them by placing the brown boxes. You have to place something behind them so that you're not just pushing them, and not waste your ghost moves in the wall by the end.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate side effect of being able to go through all walls. It is. You have to be a little bit more, I guess, specific about your movement inputs. But that's also why we have the undo redo system, so you very, very quickly can revert back to, to where you was before.
Oh no, I'm back to this one. I think maybe I can use haunt moves then, but then I won't have enough left down here. No.
And also a great example of how the chain bound then starts blocking for you, because the box is in the way, right? If you want to push down the other yellow box.
How would I get this one in place? I guess. So at this point, I will also just say we have a few viewers, and nobody has been asking any questions or anything like that, which is also fine. I know that a few viewers are just kind of tuning it on in the background, but at this point, if you're actually watching and you have time left, you could help me out before I get crazy with this one. So that's where we left now, right? I completed all the levels, but I didn't get 3 stars in them, so that's what we need to do now.
Yeah.
I think so. In order to get the yellow in the right place, if I place it like here, I would never get it downwards. So maybe I would have to haunt it from above. But then I spent both my moves to get it like this, and going back, spending a move here, entering. Damn it. It won't do. Actually, I have another thing I also just want to ask you. As you seem to be doing this as a little bit of a hobby project, but also in a hope that it's gonna earn money. And I think all the small teams that I've talked to here, they're struggling with visibility, and there's so many games out there. And how do you get all those wish lists before you launch, and when you launch? How do you make sure to sell enough? And mostly just visibility. Is that something you worry about or struggle with? Or?
So we are very fortunate that we have a full-time job besides this that can kind of sustain our living, and this project we're working on in the evenings and in the weekends and on vacation days. Like today, I have taken a vacation day to finalizing stuff up with this. And we are also very aware that puzzle games is one of the most saturated games on Steam, with a lot of competition and a lot of puzzle games coming out every day. So we started out with setting the expectations low. I think our commercial expectation for this game is to make $100 or €100 from it. That will be satisfying for us. That will be a success. So in that regard, we are not that nervous about the performance or the visibility. But still, we had to make sure that we could get there. Or I guess we still don't know if we will be able to get there. But I like to work with goals, and I'm reluctant to call it metrics or KPIs, but at least having some sort of goal to work towards, because that makes it a little bit more tangible for you, and it makes it a little bit easier to know whether you are working in the right direction and measure the impact of the design, choices and changes that you do. So we had set a goal. I did a reverse calculation of, okay, if our goal is to earn $100 on this, what is the typical wishlist conversion ratio? For how many people buy the game who have wishlisted the game? I think Steam publishes those numbers, and people are very open about what their wishlist conversion ratio is. And based on that, we saw that, okay, if we want to earn $100, we need around 300 or 400 wishlists to be able to have that conversion ratio, right? Because that would be 10% usually converts, around 10-15%. That means 30 sales. We will sell this for it will be €4 or $4 at launch, because there will be a discount, but the base price will be €5. So if we can get around 300, 400 wish list, it will be enough. Is the assumption to reach the goal that we have set. And I think currently we are around 340 wish lists or something like that. So in that regards, we are not nervous at all. I think we will reach the goal that we set ourselves. I mean, it's not if you were a full, game studio and you had to sustain the living of a lot of employees, and you had to, make, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000 at least to sustain the living of 2 developers for, I think, what have we spent? We started in December on this project, formally started. So we've spent 3.5 months on it. So I mean that is very quickly a lot of money you need if you want to be able to sustain that time and that living on it. But we have also been, I mean, even though the expectation were, I guess, low or very fair, that doesn't mean that we haven't spent time on marketing and visibility, because as I mentioned, we still want to approach this as if it were a real, I guess, real quote unquote game development studio. We wanted to do it right, do it in the right way and the proper way, even though the target we set is less than what a real studio probably would do. So we have spent a lot of time on, I guess, marketing. I've done a lot of influencer outreach, writing to streamers and content creators. We participated in Next Fest last month just to try it out and to get exposure to that and learn how is it to go through that for when we have to do a bigger game, a more real game. Not that this is not real, but I think you know what I mean when I say that, right? And we have been very lucky that the reception has been quite good. I think, I mean, it's still a small game, so the reception has still been small, but the feedback that we have gotten and the inputs that we have gotten from people have been really good. We have been featured in a newsletter about the 50 best puzzle games in Next Fest, right? So one of the biggest puzzle communities, puzzle lovers and thinking games, are they called, have gone through all of the demos in NextFest and played 700 different puzzle games, and out of those 700 they have made an article with the 50 best demos, and in that we were featured or mentioned, I guess. Featured seems to imply that we were, the headline. We was definitely not the headline, but we at least were mentioned in that article. So we have been very, very fortunate to at least get a little bit of traction and some good reception on the game. And there are some content creators who have reached out and said that they would love to cover it when we release it, the full game and that stuff. So I think we have had kind of the full game experience, even though it's a smaller game. We have gone through a lot of the steps and the stuff that you would go through if it were a bigger game. Sorry. So in that regard, I think, it is a challenge, definitely getting visibility, and we still don't know how do you get the thousands and thousands of wish lists for a game. I think my assumption is that this is not necessarily a very sellable game. It's a very niche market, and as we talked about in the beginning, Sokoban games have been around for 50 years now or something like that. It would be like if we went out and made a new Pong game or something. It is very saturated, and people, it's not super novel in that sense. Even though I think we have kind of a unique take on it with the pass-through mechanic, it is still, the baseline game is still very, very simple. So I think that is one of the areas where you could probably get a lot more traction if you were working on something more unique and novel. But based on our expectation and the goals that we set, we are very satisfied with how it has gone so far, and now we are just really looking forward to getting it out and trying out that part of it, seeing what the reception is when it gets out, and hopefully get a few of reviews and see what people says about it.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of bots and spammers and scammers when you release it. That's even though it's a small game, as you say, and that's one thing you're gonna get out of it.
Are you thinking in the email or in the review section, or where you?
Yeah, there's just so many weird emails that pop out of nowhere. And it's like, what are they called? Very generative selling, scamming emails.
Yeah. But I think that has been the way of life for a while. We did also kind of just as an experiment, we did a Kickstarter campaign for the game. It didn't get funded, but that wasn't the purpose. It was mainly to just try to go through the ropes of that and maybe get a little bit of traction and visibility. And I think that definitely attracted a lot of scammers and a lot of people, pledging $100 and then writing, "Oh, there's something wrong with my pledge donation. Can you just fill out your credit card information here and I can send it again?" And that kind of stuff. So. And apparently it's become a bigger problem of Kickstarter lately. So, but I think it was a fun experience to go through, and definitely a learning experience. I'm not sure it was worthwhile, from a time spent versus how many wish lists or visibility did we get out from it, but it was definitely worthwhile from a learning perspective.
I'm gonna skip these chain levels. I'm gonna keep them for last. Save the worst for last.
Yeah, if you need a hint, I can always give you one.
I do need a hint, but I also hate to receive a hint. So.
Yeah, but do you feel like that? Are you missing a hint system? This.
Oh, have you considered actually making a hint system in the game?
Well, we have talked a bit about it. I think our current stance is that the dynamic difficulty is kind of enough for the players, that you can get through it without needing a hint, but if you want to get the full star, you have to reach that yourself in a way. But I'm still curious, what would people want, what would the players want, and what is the expectation around it?
I think for a puzzle game, it's perfectly fine to not have a hint system, actually. I hope to be able to stream another puzzle game at some point. It's a game in development also in Denmark for the phone, where you have a cube, and you have to turn. So it's a Rubik's cube. You have to turn around the pieces to get them to the right places. And I don't know. I played that, and one of the levels, I thought I was getting to bed, and I wasn't tired enough to sleep right away. So instead of just browsing the internet, I opened that game, and I thought I'd complete a couple of puzzle levels. And I ended up just lying there for 40 minutes on one of those levels because then I put it away, and then I was like, no, I can't sleep. I gotta pick it up again. I gotta complete it before I can sleep. So, and then I finally got it, and I could go to sleep. And I don't know. For me, it's perfectly fine to not have a hint system. It would defeat actually a little bit of it for me, because then I didn't figure it out, right? Although I see a lot of puzzle games, they also make that thing where by now I've earned 40 stars or something from completing stuff, so then you could spend stars to get hints. I think, that's a way to do it, but I don't know. For me, it would be fine to not have a hint system at all.
Yeah, I think that's also where we've ended up. We had talked about the star system also, if that should be a way to buy hints and that stuff, but I don't know, I just think it works pretty well currently. As long as you are able to get through every level in some way, even though it might be, you're passing through all of the walls and, just, don't caring about your hotbar in the bottom, but if you're still able to get through it, you will never be truly stuck. And I think that is what's most important for us. We want to make sure that the players are able to get through all of the content that we have made, and that they can get the full experience of the game. And as you say, I think there's also people have different preferences about which mechanics they like to play and interact with, right? Like you said, you were saving the most difficult for last with the chain-bound levels. I think those are also definitely the ones that are more difficult. I know Alec, he really likes the conveyor level, so every time there's a conveyor level he gets really excited because it's a lot more, I guess, dynamic, but more playful in another way, right? So we want to give players that ability to, if there is a type of level that doesn't really resonate well with them, and then they're like, I don't really care much for this mechanic or this puzzle, I just want to play more with the conveyors or that stuff, right? We want that to be as easy as possible for them within the boundaries of the level or the game as a whole. Oh yeah, so you're back at this one.
So that's why I'm silent. It's because I'm back at this one, and if I'm gonna do 3 stars, I only have one ghost move, right? And I don't know, I just can't see it. I can see. So by the end, let's say the 2 yellow ones, they're placed over here, and I could pass through a wall to then end the level. But that would mean I had to get the yellow boxes in place without using ghost moves. And I can easily do it for one of them, like this, boom. But then this one up here, the only way to get it out is to get it out through this passage or to haunt it. But I think even by haunting it, I would end up spending 2 moves. Two haunt moves. I'm calling them haunt moves. I don't know if you have another name for them, but
no, that's also what we're calling it.
Haunt or ghost moves. So I don't know. That doesn't seem right to me. It seems like. Let me just undo. So I'm at that point. Okay, then I can get it down here. But well, now I would need to spend 2 moves, right? Because I would need to go in and out. But there is a way to just spend 1 move. I've seen that. So let's put the yellow box over here. And then I put the second one down here. Now I can spend 1 haunt move to get in here and then push it out. But that means I've spent my haunt move. So now even if I place these 2 at the end, I won't be able to go through here without spending that one. Okay, so that kind of rules out that, and that means I have to use the brown one, which makes sense, right? It's there, let's use it. Again, to get that one out, I would need to place this yellow one here to open. But then what? Because if I go in, I place it there, and we cannot pull boxes, we can only push them. So I could spend my haunt move then going in here. But then I don't have my haunt move over here. Damn it.
Yeah. There's
someone is actually joining chat now. It's Ladane. I don't know if you know them. I haven't seen that name either.
That is Alec. Hello, Alec. That is
great.
He's the developer mastermind behind this.
Nice. Welcome to a stream of your own game then. I'm at the point now where we have completed the demo in the sense that we've been through all the levels, but I haven't completed them all in 3 stars. And and that annoys me. And there are especially a few levels that I just can't seem to wrap my head around them. And by the way, I think it's a very nice game. I think it plays really well. It tells itself. It's just it's very easy, pleasant. There's also, we haven't talked a lot about the sounds or the music. Who made the music?
The music is some royalty-free, commercially available music. So I really should have the credits up so I could credit them probably, but I can't remember what they're called. You know, it's from one of those classical sites where you can get music to use for games and videos and that stuff. And we had for a while talked about, you know, what's it called, commissioning a dedicated piece. And if we were successful with the Kickstarter campaign, we would have we were already in the talks with several different musicians and audio designers about it, but we decided that we wanted to just focus in. And I think this piece also kind of grew on me, and I think also on Alec, that it fits pretty well. You can continue to hear it a lot, you know, and it hits the vibe in a good way. For all of the other sounds, it's a combination of me and Alec who have, you know, put them together. We are using a tool called Fmod, which is a kind of an audio middleware tool that you integrates together with Unity, where you are able to you know, put together different tracks and adjust the volume dynamically and create a lot of stuff with the audio. So for that part, it's kind of a combined effort. I think Alec has probably made the most of the sound design in this game, but it is usually a shared task. Where whenever that is one of the great things about video games, right? That you can, whenever you get stuck as part of the production and development process, you can switch up and work on something completely different that still, you know, generates value for the game, but it is kind of a varied experience for you. So yeah,
I think it's a very nice tune as well. Just kind of a little bit of background and a little bit ghostly, and you also feel a little bit alone, like you're the only one in this factory. Apparently, it's a company we saw in the beginning intro. It's a whole big like a skyscraper, but we're the only ones here, except for the phone that rings every once in a while.
Yeah. And
Alec is also saying that he was stuck on the same level when he tested it too.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
So I'm trying to. So there is a specific term within Sokoban and puzzle games in general that are used in this kind of situation where you have kind of a path of moves that you have to do, and then at some point in that path, so in the beginning you can do it in a lot of different ways. Like you can get the yellow box to the pressure plate in some different ways. You can push it a little bit further and a little bit back and that kind of stuff. But at some point in that, you reach a place where all of your options and possibility spaces kind of converge into a single action or a single step that you have to do in order to be able to proceed through the puzzle. It's a term used in, I think, general puzzle design, but very famous in Sokoban also. It's mainly more the kind of academic approach where people create these academic articles about, okay, what are the, I guess, mathematics and moves of Sokoban games, and they draw out these big charts where you can see, okay, in the beginning you have a lot of different moves and options and ways to navigate, and then it all converts into a single point, and then it expands out. I'm not sure if it's called pincing or something like that, but what I'm trying to reach in my long rambling here is that there is a kind of a pincing move you have to do in this level, I think, and that's where you are stuck. You haven't found, the way to proceed, how to get that box, out, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah, because
and I think
I keep having it kind of stuck to this wall, right? And the only way I can kind of figure out to get it out is by using a move. And I'm also thinking, like, is it because I need to haunt something? Is it because I need to place the boxes next to each other so that then I can somehow haunt them? But I don't see how that is going to help me. So I like also when you're standing still for a little bit, the ghost will actually scratch its head, right?
Yeah. That was, I guess, I mean, it's not something that Alec wants me to give you a hint.
Yeah, he can feel the pain.
Yeah. And I mean, that is also one of the challenges of testing this stuff. You have to, I guess, I know this is not a test, right? And if you want a hint, I can give you a hint, but there's also, it can be very difficult to, sit on your hands and not tell people what do you have to do, but you have to get through that pain to learn how people, learn, I guess, how they get through the levels and realize the solution. And as you said previously, if there was a hint system, it wouldn't feel as satisfying, right? If you use that to get the hint. So it's about really striking a balance about how difficult do we want it to be.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it for a little bit. We're gonna get back to it. I did that with one of the other levels, and when I got back to it, it was super easy. So let's see here. Let's practice a little bit more about the gate system in another level. Maybe we'll get back there. Although this one, it also hurt my head. So I think I'm getting to the point where all the levels that are left for me are going to be hurtful.
Oh yeah, and I think this one is more difficult than the one before.
Yeah, I think you said about this one that you're quite satisfied with this one because everything in it is there for a reason, right?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the best levels that we have overall. We have I'm not sure how many we have now, 20, 30 levels or something that are like this, where it's very, very thoughtfully designed in a way, and not filled with a lot of bloat, and where there's an intended way to do it, a path, and there are also some tricks to it, that if there's a right way and a wrong way, and usually you would try out the wrong way first, and then realize, no, this is not the way to do it. I have to go back and think out something else.
Let's see, maybe. Do I spend a horn move if I... Oh, what happened there. Oh, because it's haunted already. I'm down to 2 stars now. It won't do. What if I just push it down once?
Yeah, there we go. That wasn't too bad.
3 stars. No, that one was easy. Although it wasn't, because it was the second time around. But let's see. Do I need anything down here? Oh yeah, even the first level didn't do that in 3 stars. Let's return to right to the beginning. I was probably just messing around at this point.
yeah, but I think that's only natural.
Jesus, Alec. Yeah, we made it. We completed something.
You can feel his, I guess, the pain of knowing what the solution is and not having to tell it.
Yeah. Do you know that when you're watching somebody else play, and like even if it's not your own game, like the two of you are playing a game for the first time, but you're not the one controlling it, and you can see the solution.
Yeah. And it is so difficult because I, as I said, mentioned, have made all of these levels here. And every time I see, you load up a level, the solution kind of plays itself in front of me. Like I'm a very visual kind of guy, and I just kind of see the pattern of, okay, you do this, and then watching people go about it in their own way, it really opens up your mind to new ways to think about it. And it's really great because it has also given me some new ways to make puzzles. Watching Alec test it and other people test it out, there's a lot of different interactions that I hadn't thought about until I saw people testing it out and trying to solve the levels in another way that ended up feeding up new levels and being the inspiration for other levels. So it's just great. I really love watching people play. Even though I have to sit on my hands and not tell you how you should go about it, and the solution just plays itself in front. We have reached the point though now, with 100 levels, that there is a couple of levels that when I load it up, I have to sit for a moment and just think, how was it this level? What was the solution here? And I can almost get the first player experience and actually try playing it as an actual puzzle game, but I'm not there totally yet. But at least it. I think when we have released it and kind of moved on to new things, I think I can return to this game in 20 years or something, and then I can get the fresh experience when I've forgotten everything about it.
Yeah. So in a way, when you make a game like this, it would be very nice if you had 10 years of development time. Then you could you could make it. You could set it aside for 5 years, and then you could. I know there's a film director who does that. Who writes a manuscript for their movie, puts it in a drawer, leaves it there for 2 or 5 years, and then when they're at the point where they need to direct the movie, they'll just rewrite the script from the pieces that they can remember. So in that sense, they get rid of all the extra stuff.
Yeah. I think it's also a very common method used by authors in general, who work on a book for many, many years. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a way to do it. I think it's a good way if you want. It's very time expensive, but if you want those fresh eyes on it, I think that's a good way to do it. There's probably also examples, a couple of games that are like that, but yeah, it's a wild way to do it. Okay, so we're back here again.
Yeah, damn it. But there's not a lot of levels. I think there's only 3 levels missing that I haven't gone 3 stars for. So
yeah, you're almost there. I think that's I think for the demo here we have 20 levels, so that's a fifth of the game, right? That you have maxed out. And we have mixed a bit of the levels, so because we wanted people to know, okay, what are kind of the difficulty curve here. on what you're going to try out.
Mm-hmm.
So you are definitely also getting through some of the more difficult ones.
How do you feel about the demo as a kind of selling point? Because will you keep the demo available after launch?
It's actually a good question. It's not something that we have talked about, and it was the first time that we had to try and make a demo for the game, as we wanted to participate in Next Fest and try out that element. I think it turned out pretty well, and I think because one of the important I think tips that you get is that the demo should not be a playtest, right? It should be like the full game. So everything has to be as much in order as possible, from the visuals to the control to the level design to how it's presented, right? It should feel like the actual product that you get to buy, and that having to reach that point for the game early on kind of forced us to find a solution to a lot of challenges and polishing up a lot of stuff that we otherwise probably wouldn't have polished up until the very end, or maybe they wouldn't even have had time to polish it up. But because that is kind of the expectation of a demo, that you get a polished slice of the full game, that forced us to do a lot of that stuff. So in turn it meant that when we had done the demo and sent it into Next Fest and it was participating, we felt like that we had probably done maybe 80% of the game. I think Alex said that he had made almost all of the systems and programming of it because the demo had to sustain all of that. So the main concept that we still needed to do was essentially just building levels. And I'm saying there was still a lot of work in creating I think 60 levels or something, but we didn't have that much systematically that needed to be made. There was some bugs and some issues that appeared when the different features started interacting with each other that had to be resolved, right? But a lot of the bigger decisions and the more heavier systems and functions essentially was done due to us having to create the demo. I'm not sure how that would translate to a bigger project that you work on for months and months and months or several years. I think that would probably still be a lot of other work that you would have to do after the demo. But for our project here in this case, it meant that we was in a really good spot when we started Next Fest, and doing this as a project, a hobby project, right, beside work, it's also really important that we ultimately it's a recreational, right? It's the way that we, I guess, relax or at least have fun together, is making this game and experimenting and building the stuff. So it's also very important that we don't get tired out too much. I mean, there's always tasks that are not the most fun to do or the highest priority, but as the fundamental of it is that it should be fun to do. And I think that was a very good spot for us to be in, to feel like the demo was so close to what we wanted the full game to be, that we could relax a bit with it. So I think for the general process it has been really good for us.
Yeah, I think it's a nice demo for actually selling the game. So I spoke to you also about whether it was coming on mobile. In a sense, I think this would be a very nice mobile game. Oh, Samsung is saying hello. Nogen tager det hårdt, nogen tager det lettere. Is that somebody you know?
No,
I haven't seen that name either on Discord or Reddit or anywhere. But welcome, Samsung. Maybe if you haven't tried this before, you're very welcome to help me out. So I'm getting stuck on this, getting 3 stars. No, I asked you if it was if you had plans for this game to come on mobile. I think in many ways it's a game that could work on mobile or iPad. But yeah, currently you only have it on Steam, right? Although you are making it in Unity. I think you said Unity, so it would be fairly easy. Got joke from the source.
Yeah, so you're not the only one who have mentioned it for the mobile part. It's not something we have talked about a lot, and the game we did right before this was a mobile game because we wanted to try that out and go through that process. And Alec, his full-time job is as a mobile developer, so he has a lot of experience with that part of it. I think for me personally, I got a little bit burned out on the mobile market and how you have to think about the mobile, space. Because it's a very, very different kind of engine for making games. In the sense, when I say engine, I mean kind of commercially. How do you drive that? How do you make money, and how do you make a kind of sustainable product or sustainable business around it? And it's also a little bit out.
Mobile games are really difficult like that because it's so saturated with free games as well. So then, if you want to make a game for mobile, you almost have to make a game where there's in-app purchases or ads, and that can be kind of a struggle for a developer to, like, if you have a game that you're really happy with, maybe you don't want to put ads in there, or you don't want to have in-app purchases and all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra stuff that you have to think about, that you have to add in for mobile, and you have to consider other resolutions and have to think about how it kind of interacts with the environment, the Android application environment. I mean, it's not out of the question. I mean, we have gone through a mobile process now, and when it's out, it's out. So it's something we can always take up again. That's the good part. But I think right now we are more concentrated on getting a little bit back into the Steam market and creating more games for Steam. But you're not the only one who has said that it could work well for mobile.
So Samsung is saying they haven't played, but maybe used the Portal. And the Portal, I guess you're referring to this plate. When I press this plate, the gates go away and they kind of leave like this dot that maybe looks like a portal. But like if I place myself here, nothing happens. So I only have, well, if you're just joining now, or I don't know how long you saw, but like so we can move through the walls, and we can enter the boxes, and once we've entered the boxes, we can push the boxes through the walls. That's kind of what we have to work with. We can do the same for the brown one. We cannot push it into this. That's the end point of the game, or the level. We can sit here all day.
Yeah, do you want a hint on it?
I guess at this point I should be accepting a hint.
All right. So you need to use the room to the right to get the box out, but you have to do something that you haven't tried out before.
Okay, so
and you also need the gate to be open. Yeah, so you have to have the other box on the pressure plate.
Yeah. But then, like, so if I push like this one down here, I still use a move to go in here to push it out, and I won't have enough of that for the 3 stars, so that's not it. I need to use the room on the right. I mean, I had a feeling about that, because otherwise why is it here, right? But I don't think the box should enter the room, because I don't think that's possible without spending 2 of the ghost moves. So I could place the brown box. Oh, not like that. But you also said the gate has to be open. In that case, so actually, Samsung. Now I haven't seen if you've been here for the whole time, but we of course have one of the developers here to talk about their game, which is super nice, but also puts me in a situation now where I have to solve their puzzle with them watching me. Damn it. So you're also very welcome to ask any questions if you know. I'm also curious where you found the stream actually, because I have been posting this on the Reddits for like puzzle games and Sokoban games, but there hasn't been much of a reply. I've seen that there's a lot of views on the Reddit, but doesn't seem to be like very active subreddits. And I don't know actually, Marcus, are you watching Twitch and the chat, or are you just watching the Discord?
I have the chat open also. Yeah, so I'm one of the viewers.
You're one of the viewers. Yes, great.
Hello, Samson. Nice of you to tuning in.
Yeah, you know, Twitch has this thing where when you make a Twitch channel, you have to make a certain number of streams, hit a certain number of followers and a number of viewers before you can start earning money on Twitch and put ads on your stream and all that. And I kind of unlocked those quite quickly, and I think it's because I'm kind of, if I watch my own stream, if I have the developer watching the stream and just one viewer, then that's enough to hit the...
I mean, that's quite forgivable, that it's quite nice that it's easily achievable. And I also just want to kind of appreciate that you're doing this. And I don't think I remember to say that in the beginning, but it's really nice that you're doing this, curating this content every Monday for the daily scene. It's really good that we can kind of help each other like that.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for spending your time here. It's not like it's a huge publicity stunt and you will get a lot of viewers or anything like that, but at least the video will exist afterwards, so maybe someone will see it afterwards, and yeah, maybe you'll get a new player from that. But
yeah, and I think that counts. Everything counts, and also just the experience of participating and talking about it, I think is really great. All right, you can still solve it here.
Oh, really? I thought I was done for at this point.
No, you can still solve it here.
So you say I need to use the room on the right, and I haven't used that one. Fun fact, you need blue checkmark on YouTube to post 12 hours videos, says Samsung. You need blue checkmark on YouTube. I don't know what that is. So, well, 12-hour videos, that's a long one. I guess those are mostly the... you know, all those music pieces that are, or looping, maybe the taking of the hobbits to Isengard's 12 hours.
Oh, yeah, and the fireplace, 12 hours of fireplace, right?
Oh, yeah. 12 hours of rain.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me, like this one. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. No.
There it is.
No. Oh, wait, and now I'm just speeding ahead to the exit and messing it up again. Oh my God. There it is.
But it's very unintuitive for people that you have to push it away from the place where you have to deliver it. So that's why a lot of people miss it. And fun fact, you can actually solve this level without even using the brown box.
Oh yeah, because now I can just...
Which was an alternative solution we didn't realize until we started seeing players test it and try it out.
Because then I push it out here. Yeah, and then I have my ghost move left.
Yes, but people cannot like that as a red herring, that you can just go through there. So we ended up keeping it in here.
Oh my god, why was that so difficult for me to spot that? I've been playing this level for what? It feels like half an hour. I don't know.
Yeah, has been this level, but I don't know. I don't think you should feel bad, because I think a lot of the people we see are stuck on it in the same way as you was here. So.
So yeah, I've been like at this position in many different ways. Also with the brown box, I've been like this. Yeah. And somehow I didn't see that. Yeah, you could. I think I had some kind of. I was kind of expecting that when I push it like this, I would be leaving this one. So I would end up something like this. I don't know.
Oh, so it was stuck. Okay.
I don't know why, but yeah, you know, the room is perfectly sized for it, and I guess that's why it has the size it has. Oh my.
But I think there's maybe also, I don't know if you play a lot of Sokoban games or block pushing games.
No, not at all. I haven't played any before.
Because that pattern is very typical, you know, that is kind of communicates you have to push a box in here to push it out. So I think for people who are familiar with the genre and have been, you know, seen that type of interaction a lot of times, it will maybe be a little bit more clear. It was something I realized when we started making this game. I started playing a lot of classic Sokoban games, just to get a feel of how they work and the mechanics and the design. And I realized after a while I started recognizing the level layouts. You know, I recognized that type of room, you know, from the previous level, as saying, okay, this means that I have to get a box in here somehow and then push it back out.
Yeah. So now we're back to another one that I didn't complete. I just had a feeling that I think I might know it very easily, but then no, because I actually spent one move too many. So that won't do. Okay. Alec is saying good job. Yeah, finally, you could also say.
Yeah. I think he shares in the pain with you. He, as I said, he has been through the meat grinder, having faced with all of the levels, also all of the levels that we are not using. He has been forced to go through them.
Are there a lot of levels that you've kind of just taken out and scrapped that you?
Yeah, there's a couple. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I think mainly they have been modified or switched up a bit. If you found that a level is too complex, we might, you know, divide it up and take half of it and use it in one level and the other half and use it in another level. But we do have a pool of, I don't know, 10, 20 levels that are going to be unused because they were too bloated and too messy and not having really kind of a clear purpose. Like this one has a really clear, I guess, interaction in that you have this box in the middle that you have to manage by pushing it up and down and this kind of stuff. So this is also a level that I really like for that sake.
Maybe I can just get rid of it just by, so if I make a little bit. Oh, you know what? This room, why is this room so big? Maybe it's so that I have space to move this one around. Oh no, I won't be able to do that, right? Because then this one is kind of... No, that won't do. Oh yeah, I could... Oh, damn it. I think I can. Let's see, yeah. So I push this one over here and then I push it up. Then I can push this one down. Okay, something like that. That's also, I never did that once before in all the other attempts of this level. I didn't kind of push that box out. I just have to figure out if I need to be saving my moves for anything else. But I think maybe this will be alright. Oh no, it won't. Because then I'm spending a move here.
I mean, you could get it in 2 stars doing it that way.
Okay, so we're getting a question. What is that weird tile? So, in this game, you can enter the walls, because you're a ghost. But every time you move inside a wall, you spend a move. If we just undo that, these weird tiles are chains, and so we can't enter those. And the same goes with boxes. Usually we can enter the boxes, but we cannot enter this box because it has chains on it. Did I get that right, Marcus? Was that a good introduction of the chains?
That is totally right. The chain-bound walls are not possible. So they are kind of like classical Sokoban in a way that in classical Sokoban games you can't go into walls or boxes.
Wait, now I spent one too many already. What am I doing wrong? I think there's something about like just pushing this back a little bit first. Because otherwise, why would this room have the size it has? And I'm getting that from speaking to you, because you know, if I was designing this puzzle game, I might be mean enough to just make sometimes rooms that are not needed necessarily, right? Just to mess with the players. Do you do that sometimes? Just
oh yeah. I don't want to spoil the solution to this, no, but I might have been mean in this case then.
Oh no. I think I still have a little bit more in me before we go for the hints. But
yeah, that's good.
But I am getting a little bit confused. I thought for a moment there that the solution was to get like the chained box in here. But I can't seem to do it without spending too many of the ghostly moves. Like if I have to go in here, that's one move. I could push it up there. Again, it's that feeling, right? Why is there space up there? And somehow it feels right to push it up there. So if I spend one move and I push it up there, then at this point, if I get the yellow one over here, I would need to spend my other move. And then if I somehow had the yellow one placed here, that would be perfect.
Yeah, it really would. It really would. but you don't.
Samsung is also saying that made me see 3-star solution. Does that mean that you know what the solution is? Or does it mean that you thought you also knew what the solution was? Because the only way I can really is if I haunt this or if I go through the walls, right? But either way, I'm using a ghostly move and then I'm stuck with this one. And then at this point I won't be able to do it, I think. Wait, if I haunt this one, will the red one be able to go through it? No. Okay, Samsung is saying autism lets them see a scenario in their head. I need a little bit of that, talent.
For solving puzzles.
I just don't see it. Oh.
Yeah.
I think at this point of the stream and for the video that exists afterwards, at this point, you're not really telling a lot about the game. At this point, it's just me trying to beat your game. I'm having fun. I hope you're also having fun just watching your game.
Oh yeah, definitely,
okay.
definitely. It's such a treat.
Okay, good. We've also been spending 2 hours of your day off where you're supposed to work on the game. I guess in a sense I see this as your game.
Yeah, I was about to say this is also kind of working, but it's also like, I don't know, I wasn't sure how much time you usually spend on these. So I had expected to spend a couple of hours on it. Also,
okay.
To see, depending on what kind of content you want to go through. So it's totally cool, and you're almost through it. I think the solution is just beyond your, it's right around the corner for you, so to speak, both literally and figuratively.
But which corner? There's so many corners.
Yeah. And it's also, yeah. So speaking about watching people play the game, when we participated in Next Fest a couple of weeks ago, we were very lucky to get a couple of content creators to both stream it and cover it on YouTube. And every time I saw it, I didn't have Google Alerts set up, but I think I had the next best thing, that I was subscribed to the game on Twitch, so whenever people started playing it, and I had they have added the same feature on YouTube that you can subscribe to content for a specific game, essentially. So every time I saw someone has gone live or a new video has come up or something, I immediately just shared it with Alec and went in and saw it. Even there was a couple of times where I had went to bed and had to get up early in the morning, and I have a little kid, 2-year-old kid, so there's a lot of kind of parenting process that you need to do, right? But if a video came up in the night where I was about to sleep, I had to see it, even though if it was an hour, long or something. Just, it is such a treat for me to see people play it and how they go about the puzzles, and it also, in a way, it's a bit of kind of validation for us to know that, okay, we have made something that we can be fairly sure about, in a way. So every time we see people play it and have a good experience with it, we get a little bit more confident in it. So it's also kind of a way to just, I don't know, build confidence in it. And sometimes we also get ideas to what can we do to adjust the levels to make it a little bit more clear or more fun to play. I am taking some notes on this level, some considerations. I'm actually not sure if it's something that we have already added, but I might do some changes based on how you are playing this. So there's also a lot of learning from it. And I don't know, I think it's also just cozy to to have a chat, actually be live.
Okay, that's great. You said that you are able to subscribe to a game genre. I have hit that kind of follow button on certain games on Twitch. And I think for me, all that has done is that if I go to Twitch, then I can see who's live, but it won't send me any notifications on it. So I thought that actually wasn't possible, but I need to check that out, because
that's also how I have done it.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you get on.
No. I don't know. Maybe you can, but I have turned that. If you can, I don't know. But I would just go into Twitch and see if someone was covering it.
Okay. It would also be a bit insane if you follow something like Call of Duty. then
you just get I suppose you would.
Yeah. That's a way to destroy your phone.
Yeah. But if you just really like content with Call of Duty, it might be beneficial. There might be someone out there who really want that feature.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it for some of the smaller games. I've streamed some smaller games, and some of them have like just 1 or 2 followers. I think SokoGhost is one of them. I think it has 2 followers on Twitch.
Yeah, it's probably me and Alec.
Maybe it's me and you. Or
oh, me and you, yeah.
Yeah. But I would love that then, to get a push notification.
Yeah, if something came up, for developers, it would also be really nice to follow along. But as you say, it might be a bit crazy if you get popular or suddenly hit a big streak of content creators or something like that.
Hey, Samsung is saying they just got SokoGhost, so they just picked up the demo on Steam. That's great.
Oh, nice. It's coming out in about 2 weeks. The full game will be around, I think, 4 to 5 hours long, and the release price will be €4 or $3.99 and $3.99, depending on regional pricing adjustments and that stuff. The Steam handles a lot of that. I don't know. Have you released a game on Steam before?
I have released a small game on Steam, but it was just like a learning project for me. Like I wanted to learn Unreal Engine, how to use that, and I also kind of just wanted to learn how to post a game on Steam. So I haven't done any marketing for it, but I think there's like 5 people who've bought it. It costs €1.
Awesome! Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's really, I think it's really, what's the word, magical to interact with this Steam interface. I get so baffled every time. We didn't have to use so they have this, what's it called, command line interface for managing the builds when you have to upload it. We didn't have to use it this time around because the game is so small that we can just use the web upload feature. But for our last game, we made a free game a couple of years ago. We had to use their inline command monitor to upload, and it was just baffling to me. But I realized they probably have an API or some sort of way you can interact with it without having to go through the command line interface. But I just thought when we used it the first time around, just the idea that giant studios like Rockstar or EA or Ubisoft or something, that someone out there had gone through that interface to upload their game was just insane to me. But I realized they probably built up their own tooling or something for it to use with an API. But it's just fascinating to get to see the back end of that sort of stuff, right? When you have been used to playing games on Steam for, I don't know, 10, 20 years or so, how long they've been around now. And then you get to see how the sausage is made, essentially. That was quite fun.
Yeah, my game was small enough that I could just upload it, and that's a fairly easy procedure. But there's still so much other stuff. You have to have a video of your game. You have to have 5 screenshots, and then you have to have 10 images of your game and your logo in very specific sizes, right? And there's all those kind of things that you don't really think about. So yeah, it was just kind of fun to just go through that process.
Yeah, and it definitely very, very good experience to learn. I'm so happy that we did it for another game before this, because we didn't have to learn all of that part for this game. I think that's also one of the reasons why we've been able to get it out as fast as we have.
Okay. I'm gonna have to take a step back and think about this. So the box, if I put it down here, it's just kind of stuck forever. Oh no, it's not stuck forever. I actually can enter the wall. I don't think that's part of the solution, but let me just think about that for a moment. So if I put it all the way down here, is that good in any way? It means I can put this box in without having used any moves yet. Oh, then I would need to... it won't work, but... It feels like a too complicated solution also. Everything else in the game has been kinda simple. So if this was the solution... Oh, it's taking up way too many moves. That's not it. I'm discounting that one. Otherwise, I'm back to putting the box up in the top. Oh, don't spend a move there. Putting it up in the top. But I don't think there's any way to get this box over there without... Then at this point I would have to haunt it. And if only I could have the other yellow box be placed there right now. But maybe I'm getting too stuck on that kind of thought, because I haven't been able to figure that out. So is there another way to do it? I can't even push it down at this stage because I can't enter the elevator.
Yeah, it's also one of the levels where everything is in a place for a reason, position for a reason. I think you have done all of the things that you have to do to solve it, but not in the right order and not put together. So I think you have all of the pieces to the solution.
Okay, so haunting this, that won't really help me either, will it? Because then... I mean, I could start thinking about pushing it through here, but that's also spending moves. No. You say I've done all the right things, now I just need to put them together? I think actually something else that could also be interesting to hear from Alec, if Alec is still in the text chat, then he was doing all the programming, right? So programmers, they tend to not think that they're very interesting to listen to from a development kind of view. Maybe people tend to think design is more interesting to talk about. I've also had a couple of artists on the stream just to talk about why is the visuals the way they are, and there's a lot of thought process that goes into that. Programming is always something that's a little bit behind the scenes, so I don't really see it, but maybe something like whenever you get a new mechanic, you kind of have to put it on top of what's already there. Alec is also saying now, would have loved to join you guys today, but work needed me at the office today. Yeah. Maybe we can do another one another time.
Yeah, we have a bunch of games, and we also have some new games lined up. So we'll be definitely, if you ever have an off day and it can you need someone to participate, and it could relate with our schedules also. We could definitely figure something out.
Oh, cool. What's your other games called?
So we have Gold Express, that is our mobile game. That is kind of an endless runner, where you have to ride into a gold mine and collect a lot of gold in a minecart, and you can do flips and get upgrades and all sorts of stuff. We are planning on porting it to Steam, mainly just to have another game out on Steam and that you can play. And it's also nice to have kind of the portfolio of bigger games gathered together. So in not too long time, I think we will get it out. It will mainly just be a port of the mobile game, so nothing too fancy. And it will probably be maybe $1 or something. We haven't agreed on that yet, but that is up and coming. And then we have a free-to-play horror game called Afraid, which is set in a cornfield where there's a monster lurking around, and you are able to walk around in the corn and have to solve some physics puzzles. That was our first game on Steam, and I guess there was also kind of a puzzle element, but I don't know. I think we've gotten so much better in creating games and thinking about puzzles that we did a lot of things wrong, I think. with that game, and a lot of things right. We learned a lot about the Steam process and creating games for Steam and creating bigger games. So very satisfied about it, and just creating a free game. I mean, you have to go through everything else as if it was a premium paid game. Only difference is that you don't take any money for it. So, and then we have a bunch of Game Jam games. Some of them have done pretty well at the jams they have participated in. So I really like to kind of approach this from a very, I guess, incremental way, that every new project we take on, we try and kick it up a little bit. Try and turn up the volume or turn up the power or turn up the heat, or what you say. So if we made a free game last time, now let's make a premium game. Or if we made a 4-hour game last time, now let's try and make it a 10-hour game. So that we always try and kind of push the envelope a little bit of what we can do. So that's why we kind of started in the Game Jam area, like probably a lot of people, and then tried to build up our experience and build up our exposure to all of the different elements of game development and build up skill. And I think it's been really valuable for every new game that we have made. There has been some part of it that is a little bit easier than it was before, right? So it's kind of this stepping stone process of improving a little bit at a time.
So your company is also called Dream Jam Games. Is that because you have your roots in jams? Oh my god, did I? No, I didn't. Oh, damn it, I thought I had it. I felt like I was putting all kind of stuff together. At this point, right, I'm rid of the red box. I have this one in position to be pushed to the side, but still this one creates the same problem every time. And
just to answer Samson,
I'm
it's
lost
because
at this point, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's just a question in the chat. It's because those levels are not part of the demo. So we wanted to mix a little bit of the difficulty and the levels you would be exposed to in the demo. So in the full game you will get access to those levels, but it's a little bit more of the same as what we've been through previously. So, and also it's so you have something, to, if you want to get the full game when it comes out, something to look forward to. We didn't want the demo to just be all of the introductory levels. We wanted it to be a little bit of a mix of what you could see you would get. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying something.
Yeah, we were saying a couple of different things actually, but that was because I was getting so excited. I thought I had it. I thought I had my aha moment, but I didn't. One of the things was you're called Dream Jam Games. Is that because you have your roots in the game jams?
Oh yeah. And when we started out, we just I can't remember when we came up with the name. It's a couple of years ago. So in the beginning, the games that we released were kind of just released on our own private profiles, edge profiles, and we reached a point where we thought that it would probably be good to have some sort of umbrella name or kind of brand that we can put things out under, so people can associate it together. And because we were mainly making jam games at that point, and the dream of becoming game developers full time was also a big part of it. That was kind of the name that we landed on back then. I don't recall there being kind of a big discussion, a big process about reaching a name at that point, but it was mainly about just having something we could release games under as a kind of umbrella term.
Mm-hmm. So it's also another thing you said that it's a little bit of the dream about being a game developer full time. How do you manage to? It sounds like you've actually made quite a few games. How do you manage to do that when you have full time jobs, and you also said that you have a kid? So I think that's a real struggle for a lot of people to find the time for that.
was definitely a lot easier when we were all, studying and didn't have as many kind of adult responsibilities, to put it that way. I think now it's a huge struggle, and still is. Alec is right. It takes up a lot of evenings and weekends and holidays currently. But we also try. I think lately.
So you've also been at it at a long time then, like you're saying you did it back when you were students and blah blah blah. So then you've been at it for a long time.
I think since 2020 or 2021, I think it was part of the first COVID waves, and that, I mean, we have kind of worked on it ourselves a little bit past. I did a little bit of stuff besides everything, but I think we grouped up around 2021 or something like that, and participated in game jams. But I think another kind of core pillar of our approach, at least in more recent years, I have really started aligning very closely with the tiny games kind of approach and genre, making small experiences, a couple of hours long, in quite a limited scope, has worked out really well. Both because we also have a lot of ideas in our group for other games all the time. We get new ideas for projects and fun things to do. And by making kind of smaller games, we are able to get around to our ideas faster, right? So we are able to create more content and get more stuff out quicker and experiment a lot with different approaches and ways to do it. And I think that has been really beneficial for us. Also, trying to keep it somewhat limited. And I mean, it's still something we, I guess, it's still something we're trying to learn, right? Scoping and figuring out the size of the project and approaching. But I think we are much better now than we was 5 years ago about it, and also a lot smarter in the way that we work about it and approach the development. But I think that has been really good, trying to keep the scope limited to small, tiny games with a narrow scope. Yeah, then also I guess the other advantage, which is kind of an advantage about doing this in our free time, is that we don't necessarily have to commit on a specific time to release it. We don't have to get it out in 3 months in order to pay back the cost of investment of doing the project, because the cost of investment is essentially just the time that we spend on it. We don't really spend any money except the money used to set up the Steam page and other associated stuff like that. But we don't have to pay our own salaries. So that gives a lot of flexibility in regards to development time on it. We can make a small game that might not be able to pay a full studio, but we can spend 3-4 months on it and get a small game out without it being kind of the same risk that it would be if it was a real studio.
Yeah,
so,
you also said previously that your goal for the game is really just to make $100, and I guess that is because that's the Steam cost. If you put up a game on Steam, that costs $100, and so if you make $100, you kind of earn back whatever was spent except for time.
yeah. That's part of it. Also because it's such a nice round number, and there is also kind of I guess a more numbers-based reason to it. I looked into a lot of I guess associated games, so other SokoBand games with similar scope, length, and that stuff. And I looked into how was the game priced, how many sales did they achieve based on estimating it from how many reviews they got and that kind of stuff. And I could see, okay, most games in this bracket make around a couple of $100, in around the release and the days after. So I thought it was a reasonable goal to set, not expect anything crazy beyond that. And also, I don't know, it's a lot more forgiving for us to set a more reasonable goal. You know, it's a lot easier to be satisfied about it and feel like it was a success. I mean, we could go out and say we want to sell it for $100,000 and that kind of stuff, right? But that will also just, you know, make us just frustrated at the end, because that's not realistic for this type of game. So
yeah,
it's also a good way to set our expectations, you know, early. We try to do that, but we start new projects. Is what do we want to achieve from this, both from a personal kind of learning and growth perspective, but also from a commercial perspective. It can also be how many plays do we get, how many sales, how many followers do we get from the game, and that stuff.
Yeah. And Alec is saying, offer lunch. See you later, maybe. Thank you for tuning in, Alec, and just putting a few words on it as well. And Samsung has picked up the game and has bulldozed through 9 levels already.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. Maybe
I think actually that's the first viewer that I've had on the stream that I know has picked up a game because of the stream. So there's been a few who said that, oh, this game looks nice, and oh, maybe I'll try it. But this is the first one who has actually done it, and during one of the streams as well. So
that's really great. Thank you.
I think maybe we should also kind of think about wrapping it up soon, because we're entering lunchtime. Although I know that actually we could also just end just after noon, because I know that there's usually a little bit of a spike of viewers around noon. Somebody will tune in during their lunch. So if you're not dying, we could continue for half an hour, 40 minutes or so. And
yeah, I mean, it depends on how long you need to spend on the solution. I mean, you might suddenly just crack it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have 2 levels left, right? I have this one.
Yeah, those are the only 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I suddenly complete that, then we have no more to talk about.
I mean, then you can get access to the full game.
Oh, yes.
Try out all the 100 levels. I mean, it's funny, we were talking right before the stream started whether it would take too long to get through it. And I mean, I think it would take you a half an hour if you didn't go for maxing out with all of the stars. That's usually when we have seen people play test it and doing Next Fest, the content creators who shared the game and make content on it, they spent around 30 minutes getting through the demo. And also, they didn't get, as far as I recall, they didn't get all of the stars. It is to add, you know, something to strive for, like you're doing now. Like, okay, how do I do it to get everything?
Yeah, I think that's very nice. I also I like to think that I would be able to solve these if I wasn't also sitting here and talking. And
I think that definitely has a big impact on it, because it is really difficult to multitask with that. Usually, I also stay as quiet as possible when we do actual play tests, because I want it to be as natural as possible to get a feeling of how do they go about it, and I don't want to point you in the right direction.
Ooh, I think I have it now. Let's see here, like so. So I've had a feeling all the time that this box needs to go down here, but I just haven't really been able to figure out how I would do it. But I think I still have one haunt move left, so if I go up here... Yes!
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, there it is.
And as you see, everything is as part of the level, right? The box that is in that little room initially, most people think they have to move it out because you need to be able to get into the room to push a box around, right? But if you push it away, you are not able to haunt the box, and then you can't get it into the spot. So everything is there, right, for a reason.
And I think you actually end up using maybe all of the tiles.
It's
Because
very close.
At this point,
Yeah.
I need to go up here and around as well. I think the only tile I'm not using is probably this one.
Yeah.
Or maybe these three.
The one in the top left corner and below the box to the left, I think you also don't get to use those.
Okay, this was
Like that.
Oh, there we go. Cool level, difficult one. Actually, the most difficult one I tried last time. I don't think I've seen that one here.
No, we have picked it out.
Okay.
Also
why?
based on that test.
Well, was it too difficult?
Yeah, I think. So if you jump back to the, I think it's level 9. There was a couple of reasons to it. There was a reason that we hadn't thought of until we started playtesting. We should take level 9. A lot of people, I say a lot of people, but many of the people we tested with didn't realize that you could haunt ordinary boxes, because all of the levels prior to this and to the level that you tried at the testing, you only, to solve it, you only had to haunt the yellow boxes, the delivery boxes. And the level that you tried is the first level where you have to haunt ordinary boxes in order to solve it. But it is also difficult in itself. So you both have to learn that mechanic and also think about a pretty complicated solution to a puzzle. So we thought we should have a level that is more about learning, teaching the player that you can haunt ordinary boxes, and that doesn't have a super complicated solution, but more kind of a solution you don't necessarily think about when you start out. So this you have to move them out of the way in a very literal sense, right? And you haven't had to do that before in another puzzle. So it was very much about the onboarding experience and kind of easing players into the mechanics and the interaction. But I can tell you that level that you tried is still part of the game. We have just moved it, much further and added a little bit of elements to it.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I think in this one, well, yeah, okay, I have to haunt these, because otherwise I could never get this one out, because there are 2 of them, so I would never be able to kind of push them. So it's not a matter of stars, it's just simply to complete it in any way you have to haunt these.
Yeah. So it was a lot about.
Is it difficult then to design a level like this? Because now this is your design question, right? You need to onboard people somehow that they must haunt round boxes. Is that difficult to design then?
It is actually one of the more easier ways, because I have a very clear purpose for the level. I have a very clear interaction that is naturally at the core of it. So I know the level has to be built around this interaction in some way, which makes it a lot easier to then construct everything around. Because then I start with the interaction and I see, okay, how does this play? How difficult does this seem to do? And then I adjust the components afterwards. I think it's a lot more difficult to fill out content that is not about teaching new concept, but are more building on what you have learned previously, but in a new way. Right, so like this level, for example, you have already learned about the chain-bound elements and that you can't go through chain-bound elements, but how do we then utilize it in a new way where you have to think about it differently? That is a lot more. That has been a lot more difficult, and especially in the last couple of weeks where I had to make the last levels. I was really running out of ideas of ways to build levels around it. And sometimes I do a playtest and then I suddenly realize, oh, there's a totally new way I hadn't thought about it, and I can then make, 3, 4, 5 levels around that concept. But then I then get stuck again, because I also don't want 20 levels where you have to do the same thing. I want it to be quite mixed and varied. How you go about it and play it right. So that has been, from a level design perspective, that has definitely been one of the very difficult ones. And I think we spoke a little bit about it in the beginning, how a systematic approach would be to map out all of the interactions and then map out, okay, how many levels uses these interactions. And I started doing that, creating a big spreadsheet of levels and saying, okay, this level uses
you have to push boxes through walls in order to solve it, or you have to switch up things, or you have to the two boxes need to trade places, right? That is also a puzzle element, right? Like the one you played before. Or you have to push the boxes into the wall in order to solve it. So the interaction element is a lot about how to build levels around it. But I started doing it like that, and then I reached a point where I was like, I just want to have fun creating levels. So Alec has spent some time in the beginning creating a level editor for me in Unity, where I can kind of paint the different walls and floors and put in the items and that such stuff. So I can quickly iterate on different concepts and try out stuff. So that's how the majority of the levels have probably been made, is that I played around a bit in the editor and see what I could find of different ways to do it and interactions. And then sometimes a new interaction would occur, and I would realize, okay, I can actually build a couple of new levels around this. But also, so I have had some days, right? It's typically in the evening when I have time to sit down and then create the games, from 8 to 11 in the evening or something like that. So some days I can sit down and I can make 5-6 levels in an hour and a half. And other days I've had other days where I've probably set the whole evening on one level and still not be satisfied with it in the end and feel like something is off, or there's way too many possibilities to solve it that are not using the whole level, and it's not just working the way I want it to work, or it's very bloated with a lot of components, and so that and for those evenings it has been very difficult to get through, and there has been times where I have been thinking like, oh no, we don't have enough, the game is too limited, or the possibility space is too narrow, and what have we done? How could we think this could be a good idea? All of these uncertainties that come out. But then a couple of days later, a new interaction might come up, and I'm like, oh my god, I can make a lot of new levels now, and I suddenly get on a roll, and it is a lot better experience. And I think you can probably also feel that a bit on some of the levels. I think there's definitely, at least I feel like there's a difference in how the level is perceived and how it's played from the player. And I think you can probably maybe not directly, or maybe it's a little bit subconsciously, but I think you can still kind of get a feeling of, okay, this is a level that is a lot more playful in the way you go about it, while there's another level might be a little bit more like a chore to get through, right?
I don't think any of them feel like a chore at this point. I think you have a few that teach something new, and you kind of know, okay, that's what they are, but it doesn't feel like a chore because they're so short. Like all of the levels are very small, right? You mentioned something that's really interesting, and that's you said that your programmer Alec made a level editor for you to use, and then I'm thinking, will that be available to the players, so you can have player-driven, community-made levels?
Yeah, we have talked about it, and it was on the table at the beginning, and I mean, it is a possibility to add. I think it was part of the Kickstarter campaign, so we decided to let that kind of decide the player interest and the reception around it, and if enough people were interested, we would spend time on it. But currently the UX and the UI of interacting with it is not very user-friendly, player-friendly. So we would have to spend a lot of time creating an interface for it, creating buttons for everything, and creating logics around how it behaves and works that makes sense and that kind of follow conventions for editors and level design. I mean, it's not impossible that we might in the future make a level to update. Because it's definitely something I think could give a lot of what is the word, kind of runway, or longevity for the game, right? After people have played the levels, they can go in and create their own concepts and share it. And also for us, it would be fun to learn how to integrate with the workshop and using more of the Steam environment. I guess, I mean, you pay $100 to get on Steam, right? And part of that price is you pay for kind of all of the services that they provide you, also with achievements and cloud save and the dashboard, not dashboard, leaderboards and this kind of stuff. And if you don't use all of that in your game, you essentially get less value, right, from the money that you spend on it. So there's also kind of, from a business perspective, it will also make a lot of sense to try and integrate it into the workshops. But we are, as I mentioned, we have 100 ideas constantly, and already starting thinking about, okay, what will be the next thing after SokoGhost. And the level editor is something that we kind of expect will feed into one of the next projects we might look into. So it's not like there won't be an editor, but for SokoGhost, it will probably also depend on how it goes when we release this. Kind of what is the reception and the feedback from players. Because the system is there. I mean, there is a level editor, there's a level editor scene, and you can save levels and load levels and that kind of stuff. But there needs to be a bunch of work put into creating a good experience interacting with it, and we have to figure out how sharing levels in the workplace works, and that stuff. So so for the full game release, it won't be part of it, but it is a possibility in the future.
So Samsung is tuning in again, saying they've been stuck on level 16 for a little while, but in a nice way.
That's good.
Yeah, I think that's what a puzzle game is, right? It's so. When I figure this one out, it's gonna be such a relief. It's gonna be so nice. It's a love-hate relationship with puzzle games. And actually, so well, we've already talked a lot about that. But that is, when you're making a puzzle game, you don't want people to be stuck. I played Limbo, and there was a level where I couldn't figure it out, so I ended up searching for it on YouTube and then seeing like the solution, and it was just a bit of like an underwhelming, sad feeling. So, okay, it's just, then you just do it like this, right? And so it's so nice when you figure it out, but when you're just told the solution, you don't get that satisfaction.
And it also really takes you out of the play experience. Having to tap out of the game. But I ended up doing it because Limbo is, in that way, Limbo is a very linear experience. Like you said, SokoGhost is not a linear experience, right? You can complete this level very easily in some way and just get on to the next one. And in Limbo, when you really cannot figure out a level, you just won't be able to play through the rest of the story. Yeah, and that is the danger, circling back on the video I mentioned. I think he talks about it should be non-linear, and it should be, now I remember the thing I can just mention that point in a minute. But it should be non-linear, and you should not have a story element because that naturally makes it linear. And he talks, I think another tip is you shouldn't make a physics-based puzzle game because it's a lot more difficult to predict the outcomes when you work with the physics that can be very randomized. And there was another part. So essentially, and then he talks about Portal, right, and Portal 2, which are some of the most famous puzzle games out there, and they break all of the rules, right? They are linear, they are physics-based, and they have a very heavy narrative and that kind of stuff. And he's like, a lot of people will, when they go out and want to try and make puzzle games, they want to make Portal because that has made such a big impact on them. But it's just so difficult. It's so difficult to make a game that does that. So we tried, when we did this, we tried to follow the advices as best that we could. I mean, there are some parts of it where it's still linear in the beginning. You still have to go through the levels, but we have tried to build around give as much flexibility around it so you can still get through it even if you're stuck. And the point I forgot at the very beginning that I now remembered when I talked about the video is that I like to think about it a lot as like a Sudoku book, like a puzzle booklet or a crosswords book, where you can, if you get stuck on a difficult puzzle, you can kind of, shift over to the next page and then try again. You are free to go through the pages in the book in the own way you see fit, right? In a book, you're not limited to saying, oh, you can't go on to the next page until you have completed it. You have that freedom as a player, and I think that was a sentiment I really liked around it, and I wanted to. I tried to see in this game as well that we have 100 levels. It's like a book of 100 different puzzles, and while you can't just jump into level 100 or level 90, we still wanted to give you some of that flexibility around it. So that was kind of the philosophy behind it.
It's also, as you mentioned, Portal broke all those rules, but Limbo does the same, right? Limbo also breaks all those rules. It's also physics, and I think the level I got stuck on was actually, it had to do with jumping and timing, and so I had the right idea, I just couldn't execute it, and it frustrated me so much. I ended up checking the solution on YouTube. Okay, then I saw, okay, it is that way you're supposed to do it, and then I was trying it a couple of times more, and then it succeeded, right? But that's what you face when you do like a physics or time-based puzzle, is that sometimes, then it's down to execution.
Yeah, and it's not really clear, like, is it because of the physics that I'm not able to do it, or is it something else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's probably true that it's good to stick to those principles when you're making a small puzzle game. Then you have something like Portal, which was a huge success, and Limbo as well, huge success. But Limbo also took 5 years to make, so and a huge production as well, like a lot of people behind it.
Yeah, I mean, people see that success, right, and think, oh, that would be really cool to try and experience that as well. So I mean, it's totally understandable, and also, I mean, for the horror game I mentioned, we did a lot of physics-based puzzles in the beginning, and it's also it's a little bit, you have a little bit of flexibility in the story, but there is some linear elements, right? So I think if I had seen that YouTube video before we made that game, it would probably have looked a lot different. But
would you ever want to go back to it now and change it, or do you?
Yeah, we talk about it
the next
occasionally.
game?
We talk about it occasionally, also because there's not a lot, but there is some kind of quality of life issues and usability issues fundamentally. So it has gotten kind of mixed reviews on Steam. So just being able to see if we can remedy that a little bit and improve it would be nice. But it's also kind of, we might go back to it. We also had the idea of making kind of a Halloween update around Halloween and see. For example, there's no saving system in it, so your progress is not saved, and some people might need a little bit of time to get through it. So small things like that could just improve the experience a lot for the people. It's something that is a reason why we might go back to do it and look into it. So it is something we sometimes talk about, but we wouldn't make a big overhaul of it, a complete redesign. So it would mainly be just to see if we can fix some of the smaller issues or frustrations with it to make it a little bit of a better experience.
So Samsung is back in the chat saying they've made it to this level as well, but I'm happy to see that they're also stuck on it. It would have been very frustrating if that, that was easy.
Yeah, but you have been close, I would say. You have been close to the solution. There was a moment not that long ago where I was getting a little bit silent because I was like, oh no, you're getting it.
I should pay attention to that and to your silence. I feel like I've been all over this level, so it's super interesting, right? There's not a lot to do. There are 3 moving pieces. So sometimes I think if this brown box will be able to push the yellow one. Wait, restart. So I'm kind of thinking like if you go over there and you go up here, and then you could push it, or if it was haunted. Oh, well, now it's
Yeah, you can do a multi-push, yeah.
So if it's haunted, if you could then push it, but no. Samsung is also saying that frustration is fun. Frustration is needed in a puzzle game because it gives you that satisfaction when you then.
Yeah, when you get yeah.
It.
Definitely. But also that you have the freedom to move along, right? That you're not trapped. You're never trapped, even though it's a big company building and you have to finish your unfinished business before you can get redeemed, right? As a player, you're not. We don't want to trap you too much in it.
So, if you were getting a little bit silent at some point because I was getting close, the only thing I've really been doing different is trying to do something over here where I also ended up going around this, and I'm also thinking, why is this space here? It feels like it's needed, right? So, but also you cannot really. Can't really push the box down. If this just takes too many moves. And then at this point I would need to complete the rest without using any hauntings. If I push it over here, I get stuck. And well, I feel like I've been at this point where I had 1 haunt left in me. So how did I do that? If you go up here, no. Then I would spend both of them.
Yeah, there's one thing you did some time ago that are part of the solution that you have to do.
So if I get to this point, then I'm pretty sure at this point you won't be able to do it 3 stars because
Yeah, you need to be at this point with a haunt move left, right?
okay.
Be able to do it.
Backtrack. It's so nice, that whole backtracking thing. And see, that's something we could talk with Alex about, how he made that as a programmer. The undo, like how do you store all the moves, and also how do you display it at this point? Because it actually uses a different animation as well, it looks like, right? When you're moving, you don't kind of leave smaller ghosts behind you, but when you're backtracking, you do. Why did you choose to do it like that? Is this just to make a visual distinction between the two?
Yeah, we saw that a lot of content creators, when they were streaming or had made videos on the game, Actually, it was streaming mainly. When people tuned in and saw they were undoing, they were like, "Oh, so you can also pull boxes,"
Yeah.
Without it being clear that you're actually, it's because you're undoing and it's not because you're pulling it. So we wanted it to be a little bit more visually distinct, and it's a very, very classical system that I used in a lot of SokoGhost games and also outside of gaming in general. In Office tools, Word, and Excel, and you have the undo, redo option. So it's part of something called what is called a command pattern, I think it's called, if you're familiar with the programming patterns in Unity and in general. Essentially, it works by creating a list of moves where you add push and pop elements into the list depending on when you do a move, and you add that move to the list, and when you undo, you then just remove the move from the list again, and then you just play it back. I say just. Alex spent some time setting it up, and it is probably more difficult than as I'm just saying. But
yeah, I used to work with somebody who said just is a curse word, and you have those it's like what's those called when you have like a box you have to put money in every time you do a curse word?
A swear box or something.
Yeah. So he said that if you say just, it costs you 100 kroner, which is like what, 15 euro. You have to pay 15 euro every time you say just. Because nothing is ever just something.
Yeah. I think that's a very, very respectful way to be. So it's it definitely took some time to do, but it is a very established kind of programming pattern, a systematic pattern. So there's a lot of documentation around how to do it. Oh, Samson!
Samson is that he did it 3 stars. All right. I feel like I'm close to something here. I'm doing something different than I've been doing for the past 2 hours. So, but I still just, so I have 1 move left, but no matter which way I turn it, like, so if I haunt this box and I push it through here, I would need 1 more haunt move to push myself through before I can put it to the end point. And I can't enter the elevator. So how would I get it down?
And it's kind of in the way, right?
Yeah, this one I haven't really got it up to the top this time. How can the chain be gone without moves? Were my thought. Okay, so I'm getting a hint from Samsung. Let's try.
Yeah, it's a great way to think about it.
How can the chain be gone without moves? So the only chain we can kind of move around is this one. So how can that one be gone without moves? Well, let's see. This will still create the same problem for me, that I'm in this position by the end. So how could I don't see how, because I have to go through this wall to push it up here. So that's a move. And then I have to go in here. So that's another move. So no, Samsung, you did not do bad. I think it's totally fair to give me a hint after I've been sitting in the same level for half an hour.
You were closer doing it before, I think.
I do feel like there was something there, but just didn't really work. So I think what I did was like this, right? So I'm at this position with still 1 move left. And if we look at the hint, how can the chain be gone without moves? So I mean, we could do like something like this. Now the chain is gone. I haven't used any moves on it, but instead I've kind of placed my box in an unfortunate position. It's only getting worse and worse.
We're talking about creating an achievement for the full game. Then, if you find yourself in a situation where you have spent all of your haunt moves and you are surrounded by walls, so you can't move out in any way, that will give you an achievement.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
I was in that position at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think you can be that in this level, because this level only has like single walls. But
Yeah.
okay, what if I don't push it all the way down? What if I just leave it at this stage? Is that good or bad? I think I would end up pushing it this way anyway. I feel like this going around this, that must be a thing. Must be something you need to do. God damn it. Push this out of the way, but that's too late because the box is stuck in here. I'm not able to get it out, right? Because I spend a move if I go into it.
Samsung is sitting on his hands, I think.
Yeah,
Holding back
he's the same as you now, knowing the solution.
But you are close, I will say. You are right about having to move around the elevator.
So at this point I haven't used any moves at all, right? So I could use them to push in this box, but then I'm still left over here, and I don't think... I mean, of course I can push it into position, but then what? Then I don't have anything. Samsung is saying, what's that on level 27?
Yeah, I'm also trying to recall.
Just gonna have a look what it is so we can kind of follow what's going on. Oh, this one. That took a bit of time. What is that on level 27? What do you mean that? So there's the yellow box here, which is this one that you cannot haunt. So it's still a box that you have to place in one of the right positions, whereas like the common yellow ones is also, you have to place the two of them. I guess that's the question.
Yeah, and then also just a difficult puzzle.
Yeah, super difficult. Took me about half an hour as well. So if anyone is ever watching this video afterwards, it'll be like there'll be an hour of interesting stuff going on in the beginning, and then there'll be like 2 hours afterwards. I think we're already up to 3 hours. So probably 3 of the levels are taking half of the time.
But I guess for completionists out there who want to find the solution for the levels, right? You now have it documented.
Oh yeah, that's right. I can refer people to this.
Yeah.
When the game is out and your Discord is flooded with people and they're saying, how do I do this? I can post this. That would actually be really nice. Then I can flood a lot of views into this one.
Yeah, exactly.
And people can...
We help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also one thing I'm a bit curious about to see how it goes when it comes out. What kind of because Steam has this kind of community tab where people can share screenshots and ask questions for developers and that kind of stuff. But I have never used it myself, and it's not something that has been used as part of the demo for the game now. But I'm kind of curious to see whether people will actually use that when it comes out to share, oh, I'm stuck in this level, or how do I get about using, completing this and this stuff.
Yeah, I also personally haven't really used that.
I think a lot of people use Discord now, right? For what the Discord community is.
I think there was a time when every company had to have a web page, and then that kind of turned to a time when every company had to have an app. And right now it's like at least every game has to have a Discord.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
We have
probably
set it
also
up so we just have
Instagram and
what,
Facebook at some point.
hopefully not. That would be I think there's already a lot of stuff to keep up, outside of the game. Just creating the game, there's a lot of, creating. It was also because we did the Kickstarter campaign, but that also took a lot of stuff, a lot of time from it. You spend so much time not, building the game, but still doing stuff that in some way, creates attention or creates value to the game in some way. Like I think yesterday or the day before, I spent the evening submitting the game to different festivals, puzzle festivals and that kind of stuff. And they usually have these Google forms that you have to fill out with a lot of information about, okay, what is the game released when the festival starts, and do you have any kind of exclusive announcement you want to share as part of the festival, and how long is the game, and what is the game about, and that kind of stuff. And it also just takes a while to fill out and do that stuff.
So how do those festivals work? Do you just submit it and then it's going on someplace in the world, or do you participate in them physically?
I have no idea. I think for the ones that I have submitted participation to, it is an online festival where they, do some YouTube videos and share a lot of the games and that kind of stuff. That is at least the ones that where it looked like we were eligible to participate. I think for the bigger ones, you would go and be part of it physically, like Gamescom and this kind of stuff. But for us, I was just looking at, okay, what are coming up that is somewhat relevant for us and that we could participate in remotely and, didn't cost any money to participate in. There's a puzzle game festival, what's it called? Cerebral Puzzle Showcase, I think it's called, that is coming out, I think in May, as far as I remember, that I have submitted to, that I hope we get access to. Which is, as far as I remember, it's kind of an online YouTube showcase with trailers and different games and this kind of stuff. But that was also just to try out that aspect of the game development experience and process, trying to submit and participate in festivals and joining in. How, what's that like, right? Trying
it's
it out.
It's a great name, Cerebral Brain Puzzle.
Yeah,
Festival.
you know what you're gonna get right when you get into that.
Yeah.
So I think at this point it's not solvable where you are now.
Oh, okay. That's good to know, because I'm also sitting here and thinking it really can't be.
Yeah, you have to get it out of the way, right, as Samson was mentioning. And without using any moves.
But then this is not really a very favorable position, because I would need to spend, I think, at least 2 moves just to get the box out of here. Can I do this without pushing the box so far? So why did I push the box so far? Could do it like this maybe. Spend the first move there, and then there's 1 left. Wait, oh.
Go.
There it is. Oh no.
I hope you did get some of an aha moment. I tried to not give you the full solution.
I mean, there are parts of this solution I've been looking at so many times. I've also been like looking at going through this wall, and I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Good puzzle, man. It was great. I don't know why it takes so long, and then when you have it, and there it is.
Yeah. There's so many times you have pushed the box out, gone around the elevator, and then pushed the yellow box down, but you have to kind of forget that for a moment, and then go back to the brown box and push it up. But you got it.
I got it finally. Okay. Oh no, this was great. Very fun.
Great stuff.
I was also
Well done.
we've been here for almost 3.5 hours, but I was getting to the point where I was like, there's just one more. Just it's only one missing. Kind of wanted to get that.
That's good. That's kind of the feeling we want to invoke.
No, I mean now with how many levels were there in the demo in total? 20?
20 levels. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're gonna do 100 in the full game. It's gonna be nice.
Yes. Yeah. We have the levels ready. We are still doing a little bit of work with the pacing and the ordering of them. And then we're working a little bit on a new introduction level and trying to figure out what's going to happen in the end. What should be the final level? A bit difficult to figuring out, but we have something in mind. But you'll have to try it out yourself, or maybe see if there's someone covering it. I don't know. Do you do full streams, playthroughs yourself beside these kind of showcases?
Actually, this is the first stream channel I've really made. I did have so much fun doing these streams that I kind of want to do streaming as well, but I haven't really done it. No, would be super fun, but it's about finding the time to do streaming. And I live in a small apartment, and I would use the living room, so which means I would have to be home alone, and yeah. So.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of setup, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think streaming is a lot of fun. It's also super nice when there's somebody else on the stream. Yeah. But.
Yeah, I think it's a nice format. It's really nice sitting and chatting about it. And I was a bit nervous if I could talk for so long about the game, but there was a lot of things to cover, so it was good.
You've actually been really good at talking, and I've been able to be silent for a little while sometimes. And just, what's going on down in the bottom of the screen? Now we have all these cars just ramming into.
Yeah, there's a little extra kind of reward. So when each time you complete a segment, the engine starts up. The box factory starts working, and they start spitting out boxes. So the longer you get in the game, the more boxes will be spitted. Fired out of
Nice.
the tower, and it gets filled out in the bottom. It's kind of just a little entertainment thing. It was
that's
something
nice.
I think
I love it.
Alec he was just playing around with so he has done a lot of the presentation of how the main menu looks here, and he was just playing around with the box emitters, and he sent me a gif of the boxes flying around everywhere, and I was just laughing because it was so funny, but I was also thinking, okay, one of my philosophies is we are making something that should be entertaining for people, right? So if there's something that is funny for us, we should find a way to utilize it in the game. But we also didn't want to take a lot of attention when you started it up initially. So we didn't want the boxes to be flying around the first time you started up the game. So how could we give the player that fun experience in a kind of dynamic way? So now it kind of gets activated. Each chapter or segment you complete, you activate the engine, and they start spitting out boxes, and it gets
Nice.
totally crazy in the end.
Nice, I
Right.
love it.
Yeah.
It could also be a feature where you're like, one of your design philosophies is, if it doesn't add to the game, don't spend time and effort on doing it. But yeah, it does add to the game. It adds a little bit of fun
It's
when you are
part of
here.
the universe. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah. I think we should end it now. I'm also getting hungry, ready for lunch.
Yeah. Me too, and I have to pee.
yeah,
think
me
it's-
too.
But it's been really
Yeah.
fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and it's been really nice having you here. And I wish you luck on your release. I'll keep an eye on it, but hopefully it goes well.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for covering us. It's been so awesome.
All right. Talk to you at some other point.
Yeah. Cheers. Have a good day, everybody. I'll jump off.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and also thank you to the chat. Thank you, Samsung, and it's super cool that you picked up the game during. Just gonna put up the schedule, which I'm not sure if I even updated. Oh yeah, it says SokoGhost today, And then it doesn't say what the next game is, but what I usually do on this channel is that I stream a different game each week with the developers of the games on the stream to talk about them. So I don't have a game lined up for next week yet, but I am in talk with a few different game developers who want to show their games. We just have to figure out a time, because they're super busy making their games, so we need to find a time when they're able to show it off. And Samsung, you got done same time, meaning that did you finish level 20? Well, what was it, 24, 27? I hope you'll enjoy the full demo and that you'll also get the game once it releases. So also on Steam, I think he said in 2 weeks. I don't think I have anything more that I need to share. I won't explain all the games that I might do. Usually maybe I would just introduce shortly the next game for next week, but since I don't know which one it's gonna be, I guess you'll just have to tune in. I do have a Discord, so you could also go into the Discord if you wanted to see. I'll share in there once I know which game it's gonna be. There's a link for the Discord on the Twitch description. But yeah, other than that, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed SokoGhost. We finished last level 45 at stream end. Oh, you've been through all of them. You've been fast. Well done. I guess you're a veteran puzzle gamer. On that note, I do have a plan to stream another puzzle game at some point. It's also a game that's in development, so I can't share it yet, and I can't share the name of it. I don't think the name of it has even been published, and I don't think any videos are publicly available, but there's a super cool puzzle game coming, and I'm really excited for when it launches. I think it's a really great game. It's on my top 2 of best mobile games I've tried. So I'm really excited for whenever that game is ready to be shown and to be released. See you maybe next stream, Samsung. Yes, thank you for tuning in, and that will be the end.